What is that?
That's Mariah watching a video.
Oh.
Is that not you? Oh, that's my phone. OMG.
Oh, it's your phone. Oh, it's your phone.
That was my phone.
Scumbag. All right, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Ready? All right. Boom. There it is. Welcome to the game corner. Boys, want to introduce yourselves? Oh, Mikey's muted. There we go.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Mikey. I am Mike's friend, but I go by Mikey, not Mike. But I'll struggle with that all day.
Well, we will all struggle with it for sure.
Yep.
And my name is Gil, aka Jim Jemicus. Also one of Mike, not Mikey's friends. I am Mikey's friend though, but I had to emphasize how I wasn't talking about Mikey and I was talking about Mike.
Yes. All right. Well, welcome to the Game Corner. This is our new thing. We're going to get together and talk about various games today. The Elder Scrolls series. I'm sure everybody watching or who will watch knows what the fuck the Elder Scrolls is.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So we'll obviously start with like the main starting point for most fans, which is probably Skyrim. It's the newest main game in the series. And probably, like I said, the starting point for most players of the series.
It's also the newest last 13 releases of the series.
Yes, it is. It absolutely is. So as far as it goes, Skyrim is where most people got their introduction to the Elder Scrolls series, which for anybody who's been playing games for a long time is not a new series. It's been around for a long time. And it's been pretty much one of the biggest Western RPGs to date. But let's start with, obviously, the biggest game, and the one that, like Mikey said, has been re-released a dozen times over.
Yeah, so
Skyrim.
I have a question for you guys. What game system did you start playing Skyrim on when you first played it?
My first playthrough on Skyrim was on a PS3.
I think mine was on an Xbox 360.
Hey.
I'm also in the Xbox 360 camp. I didn't own the first copy that I played, though. Skyrim was one of the last games that me and my cousin TJ, growing up, we used to do this thing where we would play games together, but every time we died, we would swap back and forth, unless one of us was way too good at the game, in which case that person would get like 30 allocated minutes. And Skyrim was like the last series we did with, and I think we beat the game together. And I didn't even own Skyrim at the time, but I was itching to play it. It wasn't until like 2 years later I got it on PS3, and then I actually played it.
I'm in the total opposite camp. I camped out at midnight to get the game.
Oh shit!
Yeah, it dropped. I remember right on November 11th.
Mm-hmm.
I got the game. I didn't go to school for the next 2 days.
Nice.
I played it basically nonstop. Like literally got the game at midnight, went home, played it till like 7 a.m. Yeah, I remember being super excited for when it came out, and I bought it first day, and I think I've bought it every single time it's released, you know? It's one of those games that really, really impacted me as far as gaming goes. Probably the first game I remember like getting and not being able to put down, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, especially as like a teenager.
Right. I definitely had a big like gaming addiction problem as a kid. I was already not being able to put down games, and Skyrim was no different. It was one of those games, like when I finally did own it on the PS3, I think I neglected my friends so much. Like I would have friends over and I would just sit there for like 12 hours straight and play that game while they sat next to me and like hung out together and smoked weed, and like we're like, here's Mikey just still fucking playing Skyrim, dude. Like but it was so fun, and like being in that world is fucking especially your first few playthroughs are really amazing. Eventually it gets a little tiring to like go through the same motions like over and over.
Yeah, but I mean, we'll definitely get into that. We'll definitely get into the monotony that Skyrim became. But I mean, what about you, Gil? What was your first experience with Skyrim?
No, I'm not gonna lie. I remember clear as day the first time I got out of, like, you know, the beginning section where you leave Helgen, you go through the cave and all that stuff. You go by the bear, you come outside, and then the dragon flies by you, and then you're walking through the woods. And oh my god, I just remember looking around in the game, just like in real life, I'm just smiling. I'm just like,
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great thing. I remember, like, the first time that world opens up and the dragon flies overhead, or even before that, like when you get put on the chopping block and that dramatic moment hits and like Alduin lands on the tower and like you're stuck looking up at him and you're like, yo, what the fuck is going on? Like, that was a big, powerful moment in that game, especially the first time you experience it.
yeah.
All right, so when Skyrim came out, like, obviously it was hugely popular. It blew up immediately, and like we were talking about, it was the introduction for a lot of people. So I don't think any one of us here, was that anyone's first Elder Scrolls game they played?
No, it was my second.
My second as well.
That
What
was
about you?
my
Gil?
first Elder Scrolls
Your
game.
First one. All right, so that's good. We have a little bit of different mindsets on it then.
All right.
Now here's the thing, though, is that I saw, you know, friends like Gabe and stuff playing Oblivion before Skyrim came out. I never played Oblivion, I never owned it. I just seen some gameplay and I was like, this is a cool concept. You know what I mean? And then Skyrim came out and I was introduced to the Elder Scrolls universe through Skyrim.
Oh, okay. All right. So that is definitely, you're gonna have, I think, an interesting perspective on a lot of things we talk about. So obviously the first thing I want to talk about is what we think made Skyrim such a big commercial success. Especially whereas it is the fourth game in a series of games that up until that point, while still successful, weren't really like huge, big commercial names, right? They weren't household names in gaming.
Right. Even Oblivion, which was like really pretty big for the Xbox, it was competing with like The Witcher 2 and other RPGs that were like, they were all mid-tier in a sense at that point.
Yeah,
right?
and Oblivion did win like Game of the Year awards and stuff like that. So did Morrowind, but they were still considered more like cult classics, right? Like they were big games just because of the names attached to them, but they weren't really like huge phenomenons like Skyrim.
Right.
I mean,
Call of
think
Duty
about it.
was stomping them at the time, right?
Exactly.
But then you fast forward like 6 years and you have Skyrim, which probably beat out Call of Duty of that year. I don't exactly know.
Skyrim's like the 12th best-selling game of all time. Which is it's crazy.
I believe that.
Yeah.
I completely believe that.
So, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, what made Skyrim such a big success was it was a kind of a culmination of a lot of things, right? It was a lot of things that Bethesda was doing in other games, and they had seen other games do and proved to be successful, and then they kind of put it into action with their own Elder Scrolls series. Mainly being, I think they kind of gave it more of a mass appeal, right?
Yeah.
Some of the older games were very much like, if you like D&D, you'll like Elder Scrolls, right? Or if you like fantasy, you'll be here, or World of Warcraft, right? Or whatever. So they're trying to tap into that niche market where Skyrim, especially like ad campaign wise and everything, was more so like, if you like games, like you'll like Skyrim.
Yeah. Even down to the like it felt like with other Elder Scrolls games, it was like if you like role playing as a rogue or as a wizard, like Elder Scrolls is your game. But definitely like the role of the Dovahkiin, like the hero who saves the world from dragons.
Yeah.
I don't think you necessarily needed to be like just a fan of like playing as a paladin or playing as a mage or playing as a rogue. You like kind of wanted to do it because I feel like the Dovahkiin is the Master Chief of the series.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's actually a great analogy, right? Because it gave everybody like a title that they wanted to live up to.
He's also like maybe the only one that starts off divine, like is immediately divine. He's not just like.
Well,
I don't even think
In
I don't
Oblivion,
think,
kind
Oblivion,
of.
you're not divine at all, right? Like you're just
Well, you're like
you help a divine family.
You're the prophesized savior or whatever, right? Like the
Mhm.
king sees you in his visions and thinks that you're
Yeah.
the savior of the world, but you're not really. Yeah, you're not divine. You're not like
No,
a
like
god.
yeah,
you don't have special powers.
His son was the divine one who like becomes like the dragon god and like saves
Yes.
everybody. And then with the Nervarine, he becomes the Nervarine, right? He's not like
Mhm.
immediately that.
Yeah,
and
he becomes it.
It's meant to mirror like Vivek, right? Like Vivek was immortal who became, but the Dovahkiin's the only one who was like he is the Dragonborn from the moment he's born, and the Dragonborn, like the Dove themselves, are gods in their own
Well,
right.
so that does bring up kind of an interesting point because like fate and destiny are a big factor in the plots of these
Mhm.
games. So especially with like Morrowind, like you said, like the Neverine, you're supposedly like your fate is to become that, right? Like you're
Right.
destined to become it. So he is like immortal, but the way the game kind of makes it is that no matter what you do end up becoming that. So you can kind of like
I mean,
you can say that
unless
means
don't
you
make
are
it
that way.
To Bruma, like you know
True,
what I mean?
true. Unless you
Which,
don't make
like,
it there,
I feel like 50% of players don't.
which yeah, that's another good point. But
Bruma's
with the
like a super
Dovahkiin,
bitch to get to, right?
oh, in Morrowind, I think that's like the halfway point of the game. I'd
Well,
say that's right about like
it's-
halfway.
How is that the halfway? That's like the beginning of the game, right?
Yeah, but challenge
get there,
wise,
yeah,
it's about
yeah.
halfway.
Challenge wise, sure. Or it's like the brunt of learning the game's systems happens there, but then
Yeah.
like there's still a ton of content after that. It's just
So
like,
let's actually-
now you
that's-
know how to actually do it.
That's a good way to put it, right? That's a good way to kind of transfer into talking about how different Skyrim was compared to like what the predecessors. Because like you just said, the learning curve in Morrowind was huge.
Mhm.
Right? Like Skyrim is almost a game you would give to somebody to introduce them to games now,
Mhm.
right? Because at its core, it's a pretty simple system. You know, you get the weapons, you swing the weapons, you use the magic,
Mhm.
right? Like overall, the game is pretty functional to learn. It's pretty easy.
Yeah.
But now when you compare that to a game like Morrowind, that it's a huge difference, right? Like a huge jump in how much the player was helped and like guided on how to play and how to make the game work, right?
Mhm. I think that there was less of a focus on like moment to moment enjoyment. Like Skyrim really wanted the player to like enjoy every moment, whereas like
Mhm.
Morrowind wanted you to like invest a lot of time and become your character. And that's where you can get enjoyment, but your character won't necessarily enjoy every second, so you probably won't either. You know what I mean? And yeah, definitely there's like a bit of frustration even just in moving around. Like the city of it's named after the guy, right? Vivek. The city of Vivek is fucking a hellscape. Like
Impossible.
yeah. So like and there's a good amount of story that has to happen there. So
Well, and the thing that makes it crazy is like Morrowind is more so the difficulty is more so impacted by how ambitious they were with that game.
yeah.
Because that game is huge. The map is bigger than Skyrim's, and it's crazy to think that they gave you that big of an area to play in, and they didn't give you any guidance. Like, there's no waypoint marker. There's nothing. It's literally a page in your journal that says, "Hey, talk to Kevin over in fucking Bruma or whatever," and then you have to find Bruma, and then you have to find Kevin. Like, it's not gonna hold your hand at all. And personally, like, I've played Morrowind all the way to the end, and like halfway through that game, once even once you know your way around and you know how to figure out where you need to go, there's points where it'll be like, all right, now you need to go and do this, and you're just like, oh my god, how am I gonna do this, you know? And I feel like that's a big improvement that Skyrim and even Oblivion made, because as they went, they tried to make it appeal to more and more people, not just the hardcore RPG players, which the first games really were kind of geared towards.
Yeah, for sure. And that's sort of part of it is they can like adding quest markers, adding fast travel, it definitely served the purpose of making it more enjoyable for like the average player base. But I think that the options are still there to like add more serious RPGs. Like people decide to like RP and like they need to sleep or like they need to eat, and like people decide to RP certain things or just like take it slower on the quest and like talk to more people, because that's one of the things that like probably a big benefit of like Morrowind's system is that it forces you to interact with like the entire world, including all the people. That's like how you figure out where Kevin is and stuff. And in Skyrim you don't necessarily
Fucking Kevin.
You don't necessarily need to like even know who Kevin is to find him in Skyrim, right? Like you don't have to be paying attention to the story at all.
Yeah.
And you can just skip every bit of dialogue. And
that was one of my gripes with Skyrim, is that I got into conversation with somebody about it, and they were like, bro, I literally know nothing about what's happening in the story. I literally just go around and fuck shit up. And I'm like,
what?
I'm like,
that's
Skyrim's
the
a fire
casual
story. What
fan
are you
base,
talking
yeah.
about?
Yeah. So that's a good point, right? So let's start talking about, we talked about why Skyrim's so great and all the good it did. Let's start talking about the problems it had. So I'm honestly pretty surprised, Gil, that you had that opinion because Skyrim was your first game in Elder Scrolls. So for a lot of people, they just thought like that's how it is. Like there's a story, but it's an action game where you run around and do all this cool shit. So most of the people who played Skyrim are in that party. Like they don't even know about the story. They don't know the fine details. And what's really painful for me is like they don't understand what's happening in the world. Right? Like for me, the most interesting part about Skyrim is there like a huge event happened within the overarching world of Elder Scrolls, where that giant rock that you see in Morrowind, which for players back then, and even myself going back and playing it, seeing that huge fucking rock floating above the city was like a crazy moment in gaming, right? Like you see that and you're like, whoa, this is crazy. Like, what a good design. And now in Skyrim, they're talking about how that rock fell. Right, and that whole city was crushed. So now the elves have come to the Imperial City and Cyrodiil, and now that's where that whole conflict has started. Right. So for people not even knowing, like what the storyline really comes from, or any of those overarching events, or not even caring about them, and then to sing the game's praises, it's kind of difficult to listen to, you know.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things, like, I didn't actually like the story that much. Like, compared to Oblivion, I thought Oblivion's story was more, like, intriguing, and, like, the blades were cooler, your mission was cooler. Like, your interactions with people felt better, I thought. But there are aspects to, like, world building within Skyrim that, like, for example, like, I don't know when I learned this, but at one point I learned that, like, the sun isn't a ball of gas in their world. It's like a tear in a net that surrounds Nirn. So like Nirn is surrounded by space, and then every star is like a punched hole through it, and the sun is a gigantic punched hole through it, and on the other side of it is just pure mana, and it's the only reason people can use magic, is the fact that the sun breathes on them, basically.
Yep.
And it's a big ass hole into an open plane of mana, which is where the Daedra and Aedra come from. And like,
right,
you'd never learn that if you just run around ballistically killing everything.
But that's one of the beauties of the game, is like they put all that in there for you to find, right? Like they put all that lore in books, in notes, in loading screens all over the place for you to find and absorb. And it just enriches the story that you're playing. And really quick, like you mentioned how you didn't like the story of Skyrim. Me either, man. I think the fact that they decided to fracture it and tell two stories. One was their dynamic action movie that you mentioned, like of the Divine Right Dragonborn.
Yeah.
And then there was the actual like lore-based story of the Civil War going on.
Right,
so,
like the continuation of Oblivion in a sense, like more Thalmor, more Imperial.
Yeah.
That stuff, yeah.
So I felt like what they were trying to do is almost give service to the long-standing fans of the series by giving them a storyline deeply enriched in the lore of the previous games. And then they gave you another storyline that you didn't need to know anything about the Elder Scrolls to really enjoy, which was the Dragonborn storyline. Which, in my opinion, was a little bit kind of like shoehorned together.
I agree. Like, I don't think I had ever heard of like dragons in that way in Elder Scrolls before that. Like, you had heard that there were dragons. You see, you know, I forget the guy's name. Like, the prince, the like bastard monk prince in Oblivion, who becomes like a dragon, but like
he becomes RK, like the personification of RK.
Yeah. Whereas like that's what I thought of as dragons in the Elder Scrolls beforehand, and then it was all of a sudden like there's a species of dragon, they're all divine and they speak the Thu'um and they have a tongue or whatever, and then there can be like a human born with every quality except for their body shape. Like, that doesn't make any sense. I don't know.
Yeah, it felt like something they added in to kind of give the Nords like their own unique like Norse-like heritage, which isn't bad. And like
it doesn't have to be a Norse.
It doesn't have to be that way. Yeah.
The Dragonborn can be anybody. It's like really weird. So
it felt like it was something.
As good as the Beck, for example.
Right. Because that's something that we knew about for the longest time. And then even when like they talk about it in the games, like, oh shit, yeah, like I know exactly what you mean. But with the Dragonborn, it felt like something. It was just like, oh yeah, and by the way, there's these dragon people and they have sick powers and they eat dragon souls. Yeah. So I mean, that kind of felt like, it felt like slapped together and something that they just put up like last minute. And what really upset me is they gloss over like probably the most important part of the story for me, which is how the Civil War, like one of the biggest things that the elves have demanded now that they won the battle in the Imperial City is that people don't worship Talos anymore, which is the only human god of the 9 divines, right? It was the only one of the 9 divines that was just a human that became divine in his own right. So when the elves make people stop worshiping them, that's why the battle in Skyrim itself is so big, right? Because Jarl Bulgriff is like, hey, I like Talos a lot, and the elves are like, well, you can't like Talos. So he's like, all right, rebellion then, right? But that's like almost an afterthought throughout the whole game. You know, it's something that they rarely even talk about or address, and when they do, it's super, super casually.
I feel like maybe they thought the fact that like it's in the beginning of the game, like you see Ulfric Stormcloak and all this stuff at the very beginning of the game, that's enough in a sense to like make every player be focusing on that. But even if you were focused on it, there's not enough content for you to like
not at all
have that much of a good time.
I will say that if you go into what's that place that was like very like dwarven city type deal?
Windhelm, maybe?
No, not Windhelm.
No.
It was on the left side of the continent. It was
Markarth.
Oh, okay.
Markarth, yeah. Where you walk in and it's like an enclosed city that like goes uphill almost, and then it goes to
yeah.
All right, so there actually is where I remember hearing the most about Talos. Because like mad people there felt ways about what was going on, like actual ways.
That's where Ulfric's from, right?
No. So
Windhelm guy.
He's Windhelm, yeah. Markarth is where the Forsworn are, where the woman gets assassinated, and then there's the whole plot from within the prison of them to try and take over the town again.
Yep, and there's that demonic ass house that's in there.
Yes, there is also the demonic house.
Imagine if you could have made like the choice to side with the Forsworn, and then Markarth is like a Forsworn city by the end of the game. Would have been so cool.
Well, you can have like side with them. It's just they don't take over the city, which again is like not ideal. It's not really like as world building as I would want. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not. It wouldn't be the best. Like if they were gonna focus more in on stuff, it wouldn't be the best. Like. Or maybe a better thing would be like each city could be either Stormcloak or Imperial, and slowly you could like change each city.
Yeah. Well, I think if they just focused a lot more on the Civil War storyline, we probably would have got a better game. Because there was so much more to dive into there, right? Like,
Yeah.
Skyrim became the battlefield, basically the second battlefield for this huge war between Thalmor and the Imperial army. And they were fighting in Skyrim because the Imperials already lost in Cyrodiil. And it could have been a really great storyline because there was just so much there. Like, every race of people within the world is being affected, and there's a lot to talk about, especially because before that, whenever you hear about Skyrim, it's like the happy, healthy land of the Nords, right? There isn't war there. There's fighting between the Jarls and the clans, but they don't really go to war, right? They're pretty much known as the passive people. They've forged the weapons and the armor for all the other wars that are being fought. So there's a huge storyline that we could go into and explore there, but instead they gave us the story about the brand new superheroes of the world, the Dragonborn.
True.
Which apparently have been around forever. Apparently they've been around forever.
Imagine if they're leading up to the Avengers, like you got the
Just one of
Dovahkiin,
everybody.
the Nerverine, you got whatever that dragon guy's name was.
Yeah, you get them all.
Arcade,
Kevin.
you get them all.
Yeah.
Arcade would be like the Hulk, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
He'd, like,
exactly.
get mad and then become a dragon.
No,
like
that would be
dangerous.
Hermaeus Mora. He's just the Hulk. He has 4 arms, all of it.
Yeah.
So now that we've kind of talked about like where Skyrim was lacking as far as the storyline goes, I know personally, Mikey, me and you are probably in the same line of thought here, but the real reason that storyline was so upsetting to us was because of Oblivion.
Yeah.
And because of the time period Oblivion came out, there was no game like it when that game came out. Morrowind, yeah, it competes, but Oblivion was the first game that really found that gap between like a really deep role-playing game where like it's almost too difficult to kind of play, but then also had enough mass appeal where people who didn't really play those kind of games can step in and enjoy it as well.
I feel like my first playthrough when I was pretty young, it like felt difficult at first, but after you start taking out a couple of the like the Oblivion gates and you get some of the Sigil Stone weapons or Sigil Stone like once you get enchanted shit, it feels that's another thing I love about like not just Elder Scrolls, but actually, and I want to bring up Skyrim muddied this feeling. It wasn't as amazing in Skyrim. In Morrowind and in Oblivion, it felt really good to get like enchanted gear or like magic items. Like they felt more like a magical item in D&D, basically.
Yeah. Oh my god, like in Oblivion, like when you get the oh my god, the dagger. What's the name of the dagger that you get from the Assassin's Guild? From the Black Hand.
Is it
oh
Mehrunes Razor?
Not Mehrunes Razor. They give you another one. But whatever, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's like they give you like Lucien Lachance's weapon or something. Or like when you get Shadowmere, the horse, right? Like when you get those things, you're like, oh my god, like I did it, right? And the thing that Oblivion did that I think really kind of drove that home was the world reacted to you, right? Like if you're halfway through the storyline, you've closed Oblivion gates, people in certain towns would be like, yo, hey, you're the hero of Kvatch. Like, yo, bro, you're closing these Oblivion gates. That's badass. Or like if you were the arena grand champion, when you walk through towns, it'd be like, oh, that's the grand champion of the arena.
Yeah, you're
right?
the biggest fan.
Yeah, you had the most annoying character in video games.
That guy, dude.
Yeah,
Fuck
yeah.
that
Nobody likes the adoring
my
fan.
God, man, he's such a fucking cock when you try and tell him off too. It's like, dude,
He
you
doesn't
literally
have to
up my
look
ass.
so goofy too. Like
Yeah.
why they did him like that.
They did it purposely for him to be annoying. You know they did.
I think they programmed him.
Stupid.
Like they made the game, they wrote the story, they programmed the guy, they had everything done, they voice acted, like they casted him to be that annoying. And then they were like, damn, this guy, that worked. He's super annoying. You know what'd be funny?
If he just followed you.
Did Jimmy Neutron not even have like? Did he not exist at that point? Like, did
No, Jimmy Neutron existed.
Okay, I wonder if they were like,
Jimmy Neutron hairdo.
yeah, they were like, imagine Jimmy Neutron plus Johnny Bravo haircut for this guy. Like, we could make him more annoying. Trust me. And then he programs that in.
You're
Yeah.
actually making me want to download Oblivion, Loki.
So, well, the thing is, like, as you play Oblivion, as you level up, and like, it wasn't easy. None of the storylines in Oblivion are easy. There's at least 1 or 2 missions in each one of them that were genuinely challenging, right? Like, they made you think about how you were playing. Whereas Skyrim, no matter what you choose to do, whether it's use a sword and shield, throw spells, use a bow, 2-handed weapons, like, no matter what, the game, the progression of it is easy, right? Like, you're going to be running around and killing everybody because you're the Dragonborn.
Yeah.
And,
yeah, one of the worst parts is the fact that eventually you can just be it all. Like,
yeah, okay, so yes, maybe that's more what I meant.
yeah.
Skyrim suffers from the fault, like, you don't have to specialize your character.
Yeah, like mages will still use bow and arrows. It's so dumb.
Yeah, you can just pull out whatever you want. Whereas in Oblivion, it really mattered. Like, you had to use whatever you were wanting to use throughout the whole game to be at a point where, like, you could do a late stage mission using the equipment you wanted.
I think honestly, like, weirdest little like balancing thing they could have done is just make silent casting like a little bit earlier in that skill tree, because like the only reason people end up using bow and arrow is to sneak, and it's like, yeah, nobody's gonna crawl up behind somebody and sneak if they're like a melee. They're just gonna get out a bow and arrow and like just break RP and not be a knight, not be a wizard, and just decide to be an archer for real quick.
Well, and that's actually, I think a lot of the role-playing aspects of Skyrim are self-imposed.
Yeah, you have to force them on yourself. You have to choose to do it.
Yeah.
Unless you get like certain mods. The mods that like, make you need to sleep versus like RPing that you need to sleep.
Right.
Probably adds a bit more. And that's the thing about game design is like, if it is in the actual game, if they don't have to pretend that it's happening, it does feel better. Or maybe it's just easier for the base player to like have to do something rather than to pretend they have to do something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because if you're pretending you have to do something and like using those self-imposed restrictions, there's always like that thing where you're just like, well, I don't even really have to do this, right? So a big thing that like you were talking about is mods, but mods are really a way that I feel like Skyrim extended its longevity. Because at one point, like, that game was dying out, whether people want to admit it or not. The memes had slowed down and people had stopped playing it, and I'm sure copies stopped being sold. They hadn't had a new release of the same game for a while. But giving mod capability to the player base made it so that any person could make Skyrim whatever they wanted it to be, right? Like you said, there's mods that make you have to sleep, there's mods that make you have to eat and drink and all that. But the thing is, if they had such a good formula with Oblivion, where that game really felt like, you had to do these things, like you had to sleep because that's how you leveled up.
Yeah.
You didn't have to eat or drink, but potions weren't exactly easy to come by or make in that game. So it really was like, okay, do I have food to heal myself if I'm in a fight? And just little things like Skyrim, every time you level up, it refills your health bar. Little things like that gave you like almost an edge that made you remember you're playing a game, right? Whereas Oblivion, you would get immersed into it and you're like, oh, okay, like now I have to go here to go and do this, because it really pulled you into the world. Whereas Skyrim made you feel like, okay, I'm controlling a character in this world.
Yeah, I actually distinctly remember a couple times where like I was in a dungeon I shouldn't have been in Skyrim, and like fighting people way stronger than me, and I reloaded that save like so many times, like because I kept dying, and in some of the iterations I would level up once, some of them I would level up twice, and it was just like free potions, and I was like under geared to go through this. I didn't have any potions or anything like that. So what I was finding was like, and like, so the RNG of it made me get through it. Like eventually I had a good enough run. Every urn had like a quality potion.
Yeah.
Every like time, you know, I got through a certain room, I would like just get my XP right before I almost died. Like, and then I beat like a dragon priest at like level 4 or some shit like that.
Right.
And
That's bullshit.
yeah, it just felt kind of cheap, you know. And I can't even bring up like cheesing. So many like casual players I've talked to who've played Skyrim post like Legendary Edition. They talk about how like, oh, you know, this like battle you can just like get up to this little rock and then just like he won't run away, and you just like once you get the NPC bugged and you can just arrow him to death. Doesn't matter how low your archery skill is. Like you have enough iron arrows, or what is the weakest arrow?
Iron
Maybe
arrows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have enough iron arrows. Don't worry, dude. You have 246 iron arrows right now. You're only level 8. Like you're good.
Yeah. So that, I mean, that was a big thing, was a lot of people playing those games were playing it like a game, right? And that's fine. It's totally fine if that's how people play the game and that's how they enjoy it. But the problem comes when almost like the game is made for that, right?
Yeah.
Like everybody knows the whole meme about the stealth archer in Skyrim being like a god, right?
Yeah.
And the thing is, once people figured out like that meta, that's how a lot of people played the game. And again, there's
Right.
nothing wrong with it, but it's just like there's nothing like that in Oblivion. There's no build that you can play that makes the whole game easier. And especially
Well, there's like 4 or something.
Right.
Like that. You know what I
Right.
mean? You can find it. Well, both honestly have their own like loophole cheeses. Like you can make staffs, or is it staffs, or you can make spells in Oblivion that like end up being ridiculously overpowered. And then the same thing with Skyrim, you can make like if you put the time in, understand the mechanics, you can make like weapons with potions and enchanting and smithing in like a trio, and then you end up with like a weapon that does like 1,000,000 damage.
Yeah, no,
right.
my buddy did that, and he
It's not
was
even
one-shotting
fun, though.
dragons out of the sky.
Yeah. Once you do that though, the game's way less fun.
Yeah,
Once
that
Right,
was like
exactly.
before Skyrim got like heavily modded
Dead.
and shit like that.
Dead.
yeah, that's like one of those things where people, you know, end up making the game end up gaming the game too much so that
Yeah.
it's no longer fun for them.
Yeah.
And I mean, I feel like mods did that to some degree to Skyrim.
Depended on the mods you picked.
Depending on the mods. But it really comes down to the fact that, like, as the games went on, the trend seemed to be make the game mass appealing at the sacrifice of core features to the way the game worked. Like, for example, Morrowind into Oblivion, they gave you a map of the whole world. They marked everything you came across on the map. They gave you a compass that told you when you were close to something on the map to be discovered.
I think
Right.
Oblivion, one thing that would have made it a lot better is if you couldn't automatically fast travel to the big cities. If you had to find them like in Skyrim, it would have been a great balance between like a lot of the RPG mechanics in Morrowind and a lot
Yep.
of the quality of life fixes in Skyrim all in one game. But the fact that from the very first mission you can just go to every single town and start like you can just start every single quest in the game that you need to have going in like 35 minutes by going to every town. If you already know the NPCs and their locations and shit, you just like pop in and then boom, you're on track to like start everything all at once.
Yeah, I mean, that did. It was like, it definitely felt like a huge change from Morrowind to that, because all of a sudden it was like, hey, like, you can go and explore everywhere all at once, and you know where everything is.
Navigation used to be the hardest thing about our game. Well, now it's the easiest thing about our game.
Yeah, now you don't even have to think about it. Go enjoy the actual game. Which, like, I personally, I don't think it's a bad thing that they gave you a map.
I think I favor that, like,
But-
over Morrowind. But I favor Skyrim's discovery and then
Yeah.
fast travel over Oblivion a little bit.
I also wish that they didn't have the compass thing that told you as you were getting close to something. They're like, uh-oh, like, that might be a tomb over there. You see that thing on your compass? And then
What, in
as you get
Skyrim,
close...
Is that also in Oblivion, or is it
Yeah.
it's in both? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree, yeah.
I think in Oblivion
especially in Skyrim, it's because it's so much wider.
I think in
feel like-
Oblivion it shows you just a blank symbol if you haven't discovered it yet. Like, it has a set symbol for, like, non-discovered location.
Yeah.
But where in Skyrim, it like on your compass, it'll show the symbol type of what you're about to discover.
Right, which you can use that if the dragon skull thing. You're like, so there's a dragon. I've killed a ton of dragons so far, and there's a treasure chest at every single one of those. Like, you know what I mean? It's just one of those things where it's like, you know which ones you want to go to and which ones you don't, or you know what to expect already. It gets especially bad when you played the game a ton, and you're like, oh, I know what to expect. Like I don't know, I remember when I first played Skyrim, I was obsessed with the stones. You know
the stones of Baronzea?
No, the sign stones, like, you know what I mean? Like
I've never collected all of the stones of Baronzea.
I've done that once, but what I mean is the stone, like, you know how when you're walking out of that first thing and the first thing you see is those 3 stones?
Oh, yes.
When I first walked up on that, I was like, dope. And then every time I found one, I would take it, even though it would like go against my build. I don't know why I did that, but I was just excited to find those fucking stones. But now, like, I pick a build, I go to my stone, you know what I mean? I go to the like wizard stone, and then like every stone I see like on the mini map, I obviously avoid that because it's like, all right, there's nothing there for me. Like, my build is done.
Right.
But when you're first playing through, you're like, ooh, what is this? Because you forget.
That's such a strange change from Oblivion. Because in Oblivion, you had the choice of all of those same stones. It was just you picked it in your character creation.
Yeah, it's a class,
and that's how you build your class, was you picked the gift that you get based on the sign you were born under.
I completely forgot that there's an item that lets you have 2 of those stones in Skyrim. So you can just have 2 classes. Like, you can multi-class. You
can like legitimately multi-class. And I mean, like, Skyrim had quality of life things that like obviously were great. Like making spell casting its own thing, whereas like in Oblivion you could have a sword and shield and still cast spells. But they made like spell casting its own thing and like a dedicated class. They gave you dual wielding, and they just a lot of quality of life improvements, like the favorite screen that pops
dual
up.
wielding was fucking fire.
Yeah, like dual wielding was a basic thing, right? It was so good. But it also like lost huge things that Oblivion had, like for instance having a dedicated class, like having a dedicated play style.
Starting off like, I'm gonna be a fucking this. Like, I think when I first played Skyrim, I didn't know. Like, I kept switching. Like, oh, I was this, now I'm this, now I'm that.
It's so easy to be anything in Skyrim. Like the Mage's College questline, dumb easy.
Oh yeah, it's not even fun.
No, it's not. It's so
like,
boring.
Yeah, versus like fucking
the Thieves
Oblivion
Guild
and Morrowind. It's like they have little Mages Guild things all across every city, and like it was way better.
And you had to go to each one, get approval.
I like the Dark Brotherhood in Oblivion more than Skyrim. The Dark Brotherhood in Oblivion was fucking gas.
The reason that the Dark Brotherhood in Oblivion was so much better is like it was the Dark Brotherhood. Like, it was actually scary as fuck. You get this guy who recruits you because you kill somebody, just like in Skyrim, except this guy is a lot scarier. And then you're working with him for X amount of time, and then eventually that guy gets killed, and you're like, what the fuck is going on?
That reminds me of Skyrim's like Dark Brotherhood quest. You know that, like, when you're about to kill those 3 people, and there's that Dark Brotherhood chick sitting on top of a bookcase, like wicked up there, like this, all so edgy, dude.
So edgy.
Just like, yeah,
I'm an assassin.
You're gonna have to kill one of those. Go, like,
I kill all 3 every time.
Like
you took our contract, so now you have to kill more people, and it's like, that doesn't make sense.
Like when I did Skyrim Dark Brotherhood, that was like the most RP I got in the game, because like I would like be like just stone cold bloody murderer, and I would just do the remain silent like every time I possibly could. So like I was just that guy that was just like killing everything and saying nothing. And Cicero's getting heated about it. He was like, "You never say shit."
Well, and I do think that the one good thing about the Skyrim Dark Brotherhood is they make you want to hate Cicero so bad.
I fucking hate Cicero. I can't.
But then you find out that Cicero's like the good guy. Like, if you do follow, like if you actually want to be part of the Dark Brotherhood, Cicero's right the whole time. He's like, yo, this is actually how it works, and like you guys are kind of fucking it all up.
Right, from the start, they're not like doing their creed. Like the fact that they give you an option to kill 3 people, but the Dark Brotherhood's supposed to take like orders from Nocturnal or whatever. That would mean like all 3 of those people have to die, or like
That's why I
only
kill all 3.
one, and they just assume that you're gonna kill the right one.
Well,
and if you don't, it's like innocent death.
so-
but we still have to kill this guy. It's a target.
The thing that really pisses me off about the one in Skyrim is when I played through Oblivion, and the Dark Brotherhood was my favorite part. That shit was so fucking sick in Oblivion. And then in Skyrim, they really tease it because like the whole thing that happens is you learn about the Black Hand, right? And they're the top 5 people in the Dark Brotherhood, and they're the 4 speakers and the listener. And the listener is the person who hears the orders from Nocturnal, right? So he gets the kill orders, and then he tells them to the speakers, and then they go and give the commission to somebody. That's how it works. So then when you first start the Dark Brotherhood in Skyrim, you get the piece of paper with the Black Hand on it, and it says, "We know."
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And then they're like, actually, we don't have a Black Hand. We don't do that here. We're a ragtag group of assassins that we're all misfits, but we're together here, and that's all that matters. And it's like the same cliche storyline that they use with any group of like never-do-wells, right? Like it literally is like Suicide Squad
Suicide
Elder Scrolls.
Squad,
Yeah,
yeah,
like what the
Yeah.
fuck?
Suicide.
Bro, actually, there's a few groups of people who feel like the Suicide Squad. Like the champions kind of feel like the Suicide Squad. They feel
Bro,
like
the Thieves Guild.
they feel like the like friendly Suicide Squad almost, or some.
No,
shit.
no, ready? Okay, listen. The Dark Brotherhood is the Suicide Squad. The Champions Guild is the fucking Guardians of the Galaxy because they're goofy motherfuckers.
This is my thing. They feel like Harley Quinn leading the Suicide. You know how they're trying to make Harley Quinn a good guy?
Yeah.
They feel like that. They still feel just as Suicide Squad-y as like that group, but they also feel like they're good guy, but they're not. I don't know.
My whole thing is like the Champions Guild was so I liked that storyline until they were like, but they're werewolves too.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
If they-
Why do
if
you
they
need to be
tried make
werewolves?
they should have tried to make it more like that Dawn Guard DLC. Like
Werewolves should have been introduced then.
Yeah, also, what the fuck? How could that city is so small? I know every inch of that city. How would there be like 12 werewolves living in your city? And it's like the most popular trade route in all of Skyrim.
Well,
It's just in the
they
middle of the
protect
whole city.
Whiterun.
They protect Whiterun, but then also like they're all murderous werewolves, and then like
And they have a forge where they forge silver weapons or hardened or
the
something
Skyforge
steel weapons.
fits in
Skyforge
that
steel
location,
weapons.
but like the champions just, I feel like the Champions Guild should be there, but then also they should have a location outside of Whiterun.
I
where
think they should have
where,
been in
like,
Markarth.
Is Markarth stone, right? Like
Yeah, it's
very
like it's
stone
the
and
it's the
big,
one where
yeah.
the it's built into the dwarven ruins.
Yeah, that one
Yeah.
would have been good, or even Windhelm. Like, okay, this is what I think would
Oh,
have been
Windhelm.
cool.
Yeah.
Because Windhelm has Ulfric's Stormcloak. I think it would have been really cool if, like you brought up earlier that you wish that it just focused on the Civil War and there was no Dovahkiin. That would be awesome, but it feels like you want them to give both sides like good and bad in a way. And then you also want, like, I think that the writers would want, like, some divinity amongst the main character or, like, people in the story because it's a trend.
Yeah.
And I feel like it would have been really cool to have, like, the Imperials, like, essentially one of them being, like, the Vivek of the story, and Ulfric Stormcloak, like, needing to essentially either become, like, a vampire or a werewolf to, like doing something... maybe even not that, but doing something sort of objectively like evil as like a last resort to like, you know, be able to withstand like the
Well,
Imperials.
So my thing is I'm like nearly positive that at some point that game was intended to be
just a civil war.
the Civil War, but the end of the game is Ulfric and the Imperial army like come to terms and understand that the Thalmor is the actual enemy, And then no matter who wins this war, the Thalmor are going to attack the Imperials again to gain control of everything.
Right.
Which, I mean, they pretty much already have that now. But, I mean, that's what we're getting in this next game. Like, that's what the setup for this next game is supposedly about. Right? Like, Elder Scrolls 6 is supposedly going to be the conclusion of this whole Thalmor or the elves versus the humans conflict. Which, like, that's cool, but that's what we should have got in Skyrim. Because
Isn't
now
it just
the Dragonborn...
high elves, though, like, that really have conflict?
Yeah, the high elves are the ones who are organizing all of it, but they have basically rounded all of the elves up and said, hey, listen, it's elves over humans right now.
In this new game, or has that always been the case?
Well, that's the case in Skyrim. That's what's going on in Skyrim.
Well,
right?
but I thought that, like, in Skyrim, it's still all just high elves and the Thalmor. I always looked at the Thalmor, like, how could the Thalmor be like, yo, dark elves and wood elves, like, help us? And then they're like, sick, so we got rights in the Thalmor, and they're like, no, the fuck?
So the whole thing is, right, all of the elves, or the high elves live, were specifically in the area where that giant rock fell, right, like in Morrowind. So all of the elves were forced to move from where they're from into Cyrodiil, like into the Imperial City. And then when they first got there, there was a lot of backlash, like humans and Imperials especially were kind of like, ooh, we don't really want all these elves around. So the high elves organized the wood elves and the dark elves to fight back, basically. And that's where that whole conflict started. And when we get into Skyrim, that conflict is over. Right. Like they signed a treaty that basically says, like, the Thalmor have as much right to Cyrodiil as everybody.
They signed the Negan Treaty from The Walking Dead.
Yeah. Yep. Same thing. So we get this point in Skyrim where basically they tell us, hey, all this awesome shit happened since the hero of Kvatch, you know, ever since that happened. And since the Oblivion gates were closed and this whole plane of existence was saved, all this other cool stuff happened. But we're not really going to tell you about it. We're really not going to inform you. We're just going to write it in some books that you can read if you want. And now you're going to play out this weird little conflict that happens because of that big conflict. It just felt like they kind of gave us two storylines that they half-assed.
I feel like the next game, which, by the way, it's not coming out for a long time.
Yeah.
We're going to finally sort of see, like, the more refined gameplay Bethesda's been sort of making, but in a Skyrim game. Because I don't think... or in an Elder Scrolls game. I don't think Skyrim was quite there, where, like, it was a little bit better than Oblivion, but it wasn't, like, it was still janky combat, so... I'm really excited to see, like, their next game.
I always said it felt like in Oblivion, every model was doing their own thing, and life bars just went down until one was empty.
Yeah, it was so weird in Oblivion that the, like, life bar was above your, like, stealth thing, and it, like, just, like, it was this weird, like, half of a bar, and it was so tiny, like, how are you supposed to notice increments in that thing?
Or not even that, like, even enemies, like, as you're hitting enemies, like, they're just losing life, but it doesn't, like, the animations don't really look like you're hitting them sometimes. It's just like, I'm swinging weapon, you're swinging weapon, one of us is gonna die.
Yeah, the only thing they added was a little bit of blood splatter.
Or, like, the kill scenes, right? Like, if you get somebody really good, but that's something they took from their other series, Fallout.
I have seen the gate,
So, while we're on the topic of the new game, let's talk about the big project that they released in Elder Scrolls between Skyrim and this new game, which I believe only one of us has some real experience on, and that's ESO. So ESO was a big thing because it followed this trend that Bethesda had of releasing MMO versions of their big titles, whether it be Fallout or Elder Scrolls. Now, obviously, we know Fallout 76 did not do so hot. I've never heard a good thing about it. But ESO, on the other hand, is beloved. Like, people love this game. It's a huge game in the MMO community. And Gil, I mean, I think you could probably do some justice and talk about ESO for a little bit.
So I'm going to say this right now. ESO, on average, goes from between 15 to 25,000 people playing per hour. Monthly at 1.5 million.
Holy shit.
It's a really good game, dude. And the storyline alone for the main story is fucking bananas. Like,
Yeah, it's long
literally,
as fuck, right?
It's pretty long, yeah, but it's like super. How can I put it? It's like meticulously crafted, and not only that, but like there is world-altering things that happen. Like you can basically build the Hollow City from the ground up in the main story in ESO, which is fire. The Hollow City is basically
Do you think it's possible for you to briefly summarize the story?
Yeah, basically the story is
It's a prequel, Mikey. You know that, right?
It takes place before all of the games or before Skyrim?
Before Skyrim, before Oblivion, I think, too,
before
right?
Oblivion.
Yeah, it's before Oblivion. It's before Morrowind. It's like it's way back, back. It's before any of the modern Elder Scrolls games.
All right.
Yeah. So basically, what happens is you you get off a boat, and someone's like, "Yo, there's someone here that's like looking for you." So you go talk to them. And you basically get drugged and knocked out and shit. And you get abducted. And you get sacrificed. And someone steals your soul and puts it in a soul gem. And then while you're in this soul gem prison, you meet this person who ends up being one of the 5 companions. And the 5 companions is basically these people that all came together. And they tried to, like, mimic the power of the like imperial freaking, what am I looking for? The imperial like monarchs or whatever. Like, you know how the amulet of kings works?
Yeah.
So they
the
tried
divinity that the Imperials have.
exactly.
Yeah.
So a wizard convinced one of the leaders of the Imperials at the time, like, yo, we can do this thing, like it's gonna give you the power of the amulet of kings, even though like you're not an heir, like you're not a blood heir.
Right.
It'll still work. So they were like, all right, like we'll do it. And then come to find out that guy basically pulled a Judas, and he fucked everybody over, and he like just a bunch of bad shit, basically. Like he like started torturing this one dude for information. He like ripped this lady of all of her resources and threw her in a plane of oblivion. The Imperial guy who was not the heir that was trying to take the powers, he's now like just some blind deaf guy, or not deaf, he's just blind and really old.
Is like the point of the game, like you trying to what's the end goal here for your character?
The
you know
end
what I mean?
goal for your character is to help the companions try and take down Mannimarco, because Mannimarco is like the main reason why shit's all types of in disarray in Tamriel.
All right, yeah, okay. So it's in line with Elder Scrolls. You're the guy who has to do the thing because you're the guy. Like that's what it is. But that's a common theme in video games in general.
I will say that it's not like prophesized that you're the guy. It's literally like, yo, you're just
we
really
got
cool.
15,000 guys a day. Okay?
We got 15,000 guys active every hour here, kid. All right,
Yeah,
exactly.
1.5 million people in a month are the guy.
Like, you're just the guy that's here.
Well, so that is one thing that I like about ESO, because it gave people a way to connect with other people in the community in a different way.
Yeah.
And also it's like it's not that storyline where it's like you're the one guy, you're the savior of the hero of Kvatch, you're the Dragonborn. It's literally like, hey, you're one of the guys that this happened to. Go and team up with the other 15,000 guys a day, and maybe we can do this.
I wonder if they have RP servers on ESO. Imagine popularizing the first live stream trend of
I don't think
ESO
they have so much
RP.
like servers, but
yeah,
they
it's
definitely
one
have
big
guilds. Like there's
Yeah.
definitely
There's
RP guilds, and they run around and like they do RP things in the common areas.
But it's better when it's a whole server, because then whenever you run up to anybody, they RP, right? Like
Yeah.
versus-
Well, yeah, but it's not like there's not like community hosted servers. It's all Bethesda.
Like, imagine you're trying to RP, though, and some random, one level comes up to you and goes, hey, where's the nearest fast travel point? I can't find the nearest fast travel point. Hey,
But
you
that's
guys
any
look great."
MMO.
Yeah, I know. But
So ready? Do you remember that town that you get to in Oblivion? It's like the first Oblivion gate. Do you remember what town that
Kvatch.
is? Kvatch?
Kvatch.
yeah.
Yeah. Fucking walking through Kvatch pre-destruction in ESO
Oh.
is one of the craziest experiences.
I'm so glad you just said that, Gil, because that just brought up another great point. The coolest thing about ESO is it's the whole map. Like, it's all of Tamriel. You can go from Cyrodiil right into Skyrim.
If you have all the DLC. Or
Well, yeah, I
whatever.
mean, whoa,
Whatever.
hey, listen, you think you're getting all of Tamriel for free there, buddy boy?
Yeah.
What, you think you can pay one time? We're
Chalk
talking
up
about Bethesda.
$360 right
We're
now.
we're talking about the company that puts the best parts of their game behind paywalls. Every one of them. The best part of the game is the DLC.
Now, with that being said, if
I mean, Oblivion, the best part of that game is the DLC.
the best part of ESO is definitely the DLC, I'm not even gonna lie, because of
Force
the fact
Armor.
that like
Stop.
I'm not gonna lie though. With the ESO subscription, like ESO Plus, they give you
Yeah.
2,500 like in-store credits, or I think it's 1,500, 2,500, something like that.
And you
in-store
can
credits
do
a
that,
month,
and you can use that to buy.
and you can use that to buy certain DLC. So like eventually you
Okay.
won't need the subscription because you'll have all the DLCs from the subscription.
Oh, okay.
So like essentially,
that sounds like a lot of way to get my money.
I mean, it's like the same
Sounds
thing as
like
like
me
spending
buying your
$30 per
DLC with that-
DLC. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like $20,
true.
$30 per DLC, or $15 a month for in-game credits that you could use towards just owning DLC.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and I think ESO, it's very clear that they put a lot of effort into it and they did it the right way, right? Like it's its own storyline. It doesn't fuck with the storyline of any of the mainline games.
The PvP is super fun too.
PvP, yeah, there's PvP elements that are super fun. It allows people to play characters the way they want. You know, you can play any race, you can explore the whole world, so it gives people a lot.
Yeah.
But one of my biggest things is that, like, when you go back and you talk about, like we were just saying, like DLC, like I remember Oblivion buying the Shivering Isles DLC. Oh my god, dude, that's like you go through the Shivering Isles and you're literally in Sheogorath's plane of Oblivion.
Oh, yeah. That shit
Like
was
that-
so cool.
It was so trippy. It was like a whole new game.
I'm not gonna lie.
Now,
I'm not gonna lie.
go ahead.
I did just download Oblivion because of this conversation.
There it goes.
And
Let's
am I
go.
currently creating my character? Yes.
Nice.
Well, and one of the biggest things, and now I know Mikey's is itching at the bit to jump at this part, is Skyrim took that idea of DLC to the next level, right? Like Skyrim had a couple DLCs, they were pretty good, they were all right. But the biggest thing is they added that modding capability, and they let the everyday user, the people who were spending $60 on this game once every 3 years, they were letting them kind of make the game what they wanted it. And mods really did kind of come to a whole new level with Skyrim and set a new precedent in gaming, you know, to be frank. I think Skyrim was the first game that made mods publicly available, like on console.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That in Fallout 4.
It's Bethesda set the precedent by doing
and
that.
It even just the modding community immediately added things that like PC community always had. Like on PC you could always type in like apostrophe QA smoke or whatever it was, and you could get access to a developer room. You could never do that on console because you can't open up console commands. So
Yep.
they just made it a thing as a mod. Like I think day one. I
Yeah,
think
it was the
day
first mod
one of
added
the
on
mods,
console.
yeah,
Yep.
I immediately went into QA smoke, which was really cool to see because I had watched videos about it, but they like with disclaimers. This is only on PC, guys, and then finally mods come out, and I get to go into that room, and it's really cool. I think some of the coolest experiences in video games I've ever had are when you get to peel back like behind the scenes, like what developers use. Like Ratchet and Clank had this one thing called the Insomniac Museum, and the QA smoke room somewhat reminded me of that. It wasn't as good. It wasn't made to be viewed, but it was interesting to see like a room that the back end of Skyrim, like that people would use.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, I think the thing that I liked the most about the Skyrim mods was like there were little things that I wish Skyrim had done because they had improved on so much, but then just kind of like left other things to dry. Like there's a mod where you can make every town's guards have their own armor. They're not just either Stormcloak or Imperial, right? So every single town can have their own unique feeling guards where they're wearing armor that's indicative of the town that they guard. And like that was super cool to me. Or having like active patrols. Like there's a civil war going on. I expect to see soldiers walking around, right? Or whatever. And little things like that like made Skyrim to the point where you could play it again. And you know, they even what is this? What are you streaming?
He's streaming his character creation screen.
The passive me creating my Oblivion character while you talk about ESO and ES related things.
Yeah, so I mean like the biggest thing, oh wow, that actually doesn't, Oblivion doesn't even look that bad. Holy shit.
Non 1080p.
So the biggest thing that mods did was they made it like you could play Skyrim again. Yeah, like even if you were somebody like me or Mikey who had 1,000 hours in the game, you could go back and play it again because now there was all this new content to explore.
Right, like the Forgotten City was a great quest line.
Yep.
You brought up that the Civil War didn't have enough, and I remember specifically like a mod like it was either Immersive Battles Civil War and then Skyrim Civil War Enhanced, and so like those two together would just make the Civil War crazy.
Yeah, like hundreds of soldiers.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean I think that the mods did a big thing. But even beyond that, right, like the modding community of Skyrim took it so far by adding so many things that they gave Skyrim another release in the Anniversary Edition, where now all the Creation Club content is in the game. So basically they repackaged the mods and sold it back to you again. But one thing that I know me and Mikey both here have played and really want to talk about as well is a special project that came out of the modding community of Skyrim, and that's Enderall.
Yeah.
So if you're not familiar with Enderall, it is a totally separate game that is made from Skyrim. Basically, a group of modders came together and put this game together using all of the assets that Skyrim had provided. It's not connected to Elder Scrolls in any way. It's not a game within their universe, but it is a whole game based just off the assets of Skyrim that were made available to the modding community. Mike, you want to talk a little bit about it?
Yeah, for sure. I recently played this game about like 3 weeks ago, and it was my first time playing Skyrim in a few years, or like the engine of Skyrim in a few years, and it was my first time sitting down and playing a game for 10 hours straight without stopping upon first loading it in multiple years, because it was like playing Skyrim again. I think the repeat line I kept saying about it to everybody I tried to tell about was that it felt like going into another universe. Like, we're on Earth 1, you go into Earth 3, and then buy Skyrim from Hod Towered, and then you bring it home with you and you start playing it. That's what it felt like. And
Hod Towered.
In reality, I now know what that feeling was, and the way I can actually verbalize it is Skyrim is like high fantasy or epic, whereas this is a dark fantasy story.
Yeah.
That is very... It has a lot of mirrors and parallels to Skyrim or any Elder Scrolls story, with fate and destiny being involved heavily, divinity being a part of the main story, not necessarily the main character's story, but the story. And yet, instead of feeling like you're the Master Chief, you feel like you're in like a sort of purgatory. It feels like the world is just a lot darker. And
yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it's one of those types of fantasy worlds where fairies would be dangerous creatures. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's
like tricksters coming to get you, not health potions like in Zelda.
And I honestly, after playing that game for like 60 or 70 hours, and it might be rose-tinted glasses for now, maybe my opinion would change in a couple of years, but I think it's better than Skyrim, and I think that they really almost put, like, I love the Bethesda team, but I think that they put them to shame, because they did so many things in that game that were like just so well thought out. Like even just exploring the landscape, it very much started to feel like everywhere you went, you were rewarded for exploring in like new and exciting ways. It wasn't just as simple as like a chest at an end of a dungeon. And like their dungeons were designed to like get you lost, but you weren't frustrated. Like I've been lost in a Morrowind dungeon before because it's procedurally generated. But it felt like a mix of that because all the Skyrim dungeons are handcrafted, but like you can read them. Like after playing it for a while, you know where the exit's going to be and you know which path is an offshoot the moment you look at it.
Right.
And so you know where to find the items and where to get back to the quest, and then you know at the end you'll loop to the back.
That was my problem with Skyrim. That was my problem, was every dungeon had that secret entrance at the end, right? So it wasn't about, oh, you made it to the end of the dungeon and got the thing, but like, can you get out? It was literally, oh, you got to the end of the dungeon and got the thing. All right, you're back at the entrance. Have a great day.
Here's your complimentary way out, basically.
Yeah.
Which Enderall did keep that to a certain extent, but it also had this downright feature, like, in this game, you can't fast travel. It's more like Morrowind where you have to travel via public transport. But there's also scrolls, and they're relatively cheap, and they like, people make and sell scrolls of teleport to all of the key locations, essentially. So after you know, get your money up, you can sort of fast travel. But there was this one dungeon I remember ending where specifically
gods give me
just
strength.
You get trapped in one area. Like the very end of the dungeon, to finish it, you're stuck in this room, and the only way out is using a scroll of teleport to somewhere. And that's the first time you it might be the only scroll in the game of that, but there's a note next to it that basically explains that use this to escape, and I can't designate the location so that like no spies can know where you're escaping to and stuff. It was meant for like a princess, but she was like dead on the floor right in front of me. And so I used her scroll.
She didn't know how to do it.
Yeah, I used her scroll, and it got me out of the dungeon. That was the only point of the scroll, and it felt a lot better than just like I pulled a chain and then a little hidden door, and then I find out the end of the dungeon was right under my nose the whole time. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, all you had to do was take a left and hit that rock, and you'd be at the end.
Hit that rock.
I mean, and I think the thing about Enderall that made it feel so great was it showed you like what Skyrim could have been, right? Because the way the character building and the progression and the combat, the way all of that works in Enderall isn't like fundamentally different than Skyrim, because it's the same mechanics, but the way that they had the mechanics applied just felt so much better. And when you see a smaller team like put that together from just what Bethesda had to work with, it really makes you kind of have a sour taste in your mouth about Skyrim at the end, because it's like, this game's been resold to us 100 times, and you could have done something like this.
Yeah. I mean, even just ice caps or ice claws. They're these items that you find all across the land in Enderall, and they're just little blue mushrooms, but when you eat them, they increase your carry weight by 1 permanently. And like, so it's a part of the game. It's like a new mechanic they implemented that isn't in Skyrim at all, where there's just an ingredient out there. It's not even like an item, and it's an ingredient. And if you eat it, you permanently get a boost to there's nothing else you can do with this ingredient. And it's one of the pieces of like rewards that's used for exploration, but it's also used at the end of like, it's just a reward that's spread out through the land. And then instead of leveling up how you would typically level up, you get general XP. Instead of like using a one-handed blade and just getting one-handed experience, you use a one-handed blade, you use a bow, you use magic, you get general experience. Even if you use a trap, like if you make someone chase after you and the environment kills them while you're around, you get general experience for that, which is really cool and it feels more in touch with the D&D roots, because I think like if I told a dungeon master in D&D, like, oh, I walk across the bridge, and it's the same bridge that I weaken the supports on, and then 10 enemies, like, approach me, and I get to the other side, and they all get on the bridge at the same time, so it collapses and they die, because 10 is too many for the unsupported bridge. I think that the DM would still give my character experience for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I did kill those enemies. I didn't use my sword to kill those enemies, but I killed them. And so you get general XP, and then you pick up books across the world, and when you have general XP, eventually you get a level up and you unlock 5 learning points, and you can use those books in correspondence with your learning points to increase a skill of your choosing. Which I feel like is an improvement on Oblivion system, where you're improving your minor and major skills, and then when you sleep, it improves those skills based on a multiplier, based on how much progress you did in that sleep session, because it limits some of that self-imposed RP, because, like, if you want to be a character who has to sleep every day, now you have a real challenge on your hand, because you have to actually get enough done to justify sleeping, and you have to do it all in 24 hours, or, like, less than 24 hours. And if you do it wrong, you can end up way under level. You can.
Well, I mean, it's not like in Oblivion every time you slept you had to level up. You know, it was just whenever.
Most likely, if you're playing the story, playing side quests, you will be capable of leveling up. You'll have like a 1x multiplier on 2 or 3 of your major skills, but you shouldn't level up, because if you do, like, there's a chance in Oblivion that you could end up like a level 8 with a level 4 stats. And then every enemy's level 8, so you're just screwed. Like, at that point, you might want to reload a save. You know what I mean?
Right, but I mean, that's part of what made Oblivion good, was you had to worry about how you were leveling your character. And, like, you had to make sure each time you leveled up, you were doing something impactful.
I agree, it added a feeling of impactfulness, but I think that Enderal lands on a feeling of impactfulness, too, because it feels like you have to gain knowledge, like, you have to learn and become an expert slowly over time because of how expensive the books are. You can find them across the land as well, but again, it's used as a tool to entice exploration of the main character. And you can, like, it still feels impactful when you're like selling, like, potions are really hard to come by and you cannot use food in combat. Food won't heal you in combat. It will heal you really well out of combat, but you need potions. Potions are more expensive. Fast travel scrolls are, they're not expensive, but they're more expensive than free. And so yeah, it feels like you're taking away from your stock when you choose to level up. Like, if you power level, it costs everything. You know what I mean? And
well, it matters, right?
It feels like they reached a really good balance of you still being able to RP. Because you can still choose to sleep every, like, 12 hours. Like, if you think, oh, wow, my character would be tired right now, even if it's only been, like, 8 hours, but he just did 3 quests and, like, killed 90 people or some shit, you could be like, damn, my guy would be fucking exhausted, so I'm gonna go to bed. And, like, it's not gonna affect your level, and you can buy your things in the morning, and you can just still RP the way you want to. Like, that self-imposed RP is never interrupted. The call for exploration is always there. And the leveling system itself, it might not be exactly Oblivion's, but it feels true to D&D. It feels really intricate and really RPG based. Even the aspect of the mod that sorry to interrupt again, but the aspect of the mod that's probably my favorite is just the hero menu itself. It looks like a classic D&D sheet.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was supposed to say. Is the way that you can level them up? It's like, the way the leveling system works in Enderal is way cleaner, and it's way smoother and more intuitive, and it allows you to kind of fine-tune the character a little bit easier. But for me, the biggest thing was, like, the natural progression through the game was so well done. Like, at no point do you feel too overpowered or too underpowered. And it feels like as you're going through the game, you're at the right point for the game. Whereas in Oblivion, like, the first few levels, you're kind of figuring it out. First few quests might be a little tough. But once you get to the point where you're like, okay, I know what I'm doing here, the whole game starts to kind of fall in line. Like you mentioned, when you get the enchanted items. You close 2 or 3 Oblivion gates, and now all of a sudden you're like, okay, it doesn't even matter what weapon I'm using. I'm going to blaze through all of this.
Yeah.
And then I feel like Skyrim suffered from that times 10. Because once you hit like level 10 or 12 in Skyrim, you get a few of those perk boosts and stuff. And if you're continuing one play style, like, the game's cake.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Skyrim and Ender all use the same magic system, but the max level destruction versus max level elementalism, Enderall, if you're like a max level specifically with the shock perks, you're a lot weaker than the max level shock perks in Skyrim. But it's fine because, well, part of what makes Enderall great is everybody does more damage but has less health. So like that includes you. So like you can die really easily, but you can kill people really easily. But they'll throw a lot at you, so you have to like it feels a lot more like real combat. And I remember you mentioned earlier that it's the same as Skyrim, but it actually, like, at least I didn't get to feel this that much because I was a wizard. But the one hand and two hand, there's actually just completely new combat animations from a different mod. So it definitely can feel a lot different when you play it.
Well, and the biggest thing that Enderall did to fix that is they have it so that if you get hit while you're starting an animation to swing your sword, it'll cancel the animation.
Yeah.
So you can't just go in and press one button 17 times like you just did to this rat here.
Roll. There's a dodge roll.
There's a dodge roll.
It's a fucking it's a Dark Souls game. Is what
right.
It is.
I mean, I would say Enderall is probably closer in genre to a Dark Souls game than Skyrim.
Right, with the dark fantasy.
Right.
Dude, so with that story, with that dark fantasy setting, it's actually depressing to play. Like,
right.
So it almost makes you need to sit back and appreciate like the side quests and the other parts of the world. And if you grind through the story like I did, it's incredibly emotionally draining. Just because every quest, it's a tragedy. Like, the whole story is a tragedy. There's even, you know how Skyrim and Oblivion all have radiant NPC lines where you're just walking by and NPCs will just say stuff?
Yeah.
One of the lines in Enderall is, well, I guess at some point you just have to live with it. And it, like, really brings in this feeling of, like,
well, yeah, that's like the tone, the tone difference in the game, right? Where it's almost like kind of poking fun at the tone of Skyrim, where it's like, you know, terrible fucking things are happening in Skyrim. The world is in chaos. There's a civil war going on. Dragons are back. There's a dragon god who's trying to fuck your country up. And people are walking around like, I used to be an adventurer like you too before I took an arrow to the knee. Right, and it's like, okay, bro, we've heard the meme joke 100 times. But it's like, are you not concerned by the giant dragon right over there? Like, what's going on? Or even so, like, as the game goes on, a huge thing for me in Skyrim is like you could be the Dragonborn. You could travel to the afterlife and you can kill Alduin in heaven. You fight him in heaven and you can murder him there. And then when you come back to the mortal plane, you could walk by a guard in Whiterun and he'll be like, "Get out of my way, peasant." And you're like, "Brother,
what?"
Yeah, like, not only did I stop the civil war ravaging this country, I fought the dragon god in heaven and won. And I came back here for you, a guard in Whiterun, the starter city, to talk shit? Go fuck yourself. And it's like, that didn't happen in Oblivion. And even in Enderall, like, people kind of react to you a little bit differently as the game goes on, right? Like, there's a little bit of depth to the people around you. And I feel
like people are still disrespecting you, but a lot of it comes down to the fact that you play a foreigner, and in this world, foreigner is a lot worse, basically.
Right.
Even when you are in the Sun Temple and you're the prophet, nobody in the Sun Temple likes you, basically, because you're not from around here, and nobody likes that. It's very, like, gritty. It's very good. I love that game.
Whereas, like, Skyrim kind of... I feel like Skyrim was the first time Bethesda went from their, like, fantasy storylines or their, like, dark and gritty storylines and kind of took a walk on the goofy side a little bit. Right? Because a lot more of it is, like, lighthearted and not really as, like, gritty and grimy and really, like, a dark, right? Like... Think about, I mean, even like the Fallout games. Like Fallout 3 was a little bit goofy, even though it was very dark. It was a little goofy, and then you look at Fallout 4, and that's almost like full goofy.
Yeah, I mean, and I was actually gonna make a comparison earlier where it feels like with Vivek that it's like the fantasy setting RPG of like essentially like a dictator taking over somewhere.
Yeah.
Like a almost post-apocalyptic, but the apocalypse was immortal, became a god, and then reshaped a world in his image in a sense. And like so it feels like a kind of post-apocalyptic thing, but it's not. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, whereas, yeah, definitely Skyrim feels just like, I don't know. Like,
the thing,
the
I feel
plot's
like
floaty or something. I don't know. It's
Skyrim
light.
feels like everything is happening, but only to you.
True, yeah, definitely.
Whereas, like, in a lot of the other games, like, you can see the world being impacted. Like, even in Oblivion, dude, like, when you go to Kvatch after the gates closed, like, you can go back there literally months later in the game, and people are talking about, oh, like, we're just starting to rebuild this city. Holy fuck, we had an Oblivion gate here.
Yeah.
And in Skyrim, like, nobody gives a shit. Like, they'll see a dragon and be like, oh my god, a dragon. But then, like, they'll murder that dragon in the town square, and that lady will go right back to selling her cabbages.
Right? Like, a chick will pull out her dagger to fight the dragon.
Yeah, she'll take out her dagger and be like, all right, dragon, come here. And then
imagine
you'll kill
the
him.
Tanners ran away. Like, that would be so cool.
It
Just
would make
that.
sense.
Yeah.
Right? Like, the regular people are running. But no, there's a woman with her dagger, like, come on, dragon. And then you kill him and eat his soul. And that woman's like, dude, you want to browse my wares?
You want to browse my wares?
Do you want to browse my wares?
You wanna
Also, the fact that, like, the way the beginning of the game plays out in Skyrim, how it's like the dragons show back up, whatever, they're gonna execute you, and then they're like, all right, right now at the beginning of the game, you want to go with the Imperial guy or the Stormcloak guy?
Yeah.
It felt like they just pushed everything on you, right? Whereas, like, Oblivion, the guy just tells you, hey, brother, like, I'm the king and I'm about to get murdered, as Gil's playing. You just need to go and take this thing to my son. Like, he just gives you a quest, and that quest keeps adding on, right? Whereas in Skyrim, it's like, you have absolutely no choice. You are forced to participate. Pick a side right now.
Actually, the Amulet of Kings, it kind of reminds me. I've been playing Breath of the Wild recently, and there's this thing they implemented called the Sheikah Slate, and every time you walk up to someone, they go, oh, that's a Sheikah Slate. You must be the hero. It's, like, so weird. Amulet of Kings is kind of like that, a little bit. Like, every once in a while, you're like, oh, this guy gave me the Amulet of Kings, so I have it. And they're like, what?
They're like, whoa. Well, I mean, you only have,
I believe you now because you have it. Like,
well, I
don't
mean,
know.
but that makes sense because the Amulet of Kings is literally something that contains Tiber Septim's blood.
Yeah.
And you use the amulet. If you have his blood, you can use the Amulet of Kings to turn into that giant golden dragon. So, like,
You can do that?
No,
Oh,
bro.
no, like, in lore. In lore.
In
you can
lore.
do that. Okay, okay,
That,
okay.
and that's why the Amulet of Kings is so important, because when you give it to the son, that's what he ends up using to turn into the dragon, because he does all the research when he's in the Blade's hideout, and he figures it out, and he's like, oh, I have to go and sacrifice myself to fight Mehrunes Dagon,
like,
or
Which,
whatever.
Like, what a fucking awesome guy, dude. What the hell?
Yeah, and also, the end of that game, holy fucking shit. Talk about, like, an epic moment in gaming. Like, you're in the center of the Imperial City, and a giant Daedric Lord shows up, and then he fights a fucking dragon?
Yeah, yeah.
But
it does
that-
stink though that you didn't do it. Like that. Like
I
Uriel
think it's-
Septim did it. It's
I
probably
think it's better.
It's better that you watch him become a dragon, because it wouldn't have been cool for you to become a dragon.
Yeah, it would have been like, oh,
But
all
it
right,
would have been
all right.
cool if they also gave you a boss. Like if there was like.
Well,
you
you
know,
do. You
maybe-
have to fight him first.
Right. Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, like, you fight him first, and then he shows up and is like, don't worry. I know you just beat
got
the
this.
shit out of this guy, but I'm going to
save
do the
you.
thing now.
I'll save you guys.
And then the DLC complement it, right? Like, if you do the Shivering Isles DLC when you've already beaten the game, like, they talk about it. Like, they're literally like, oh fuck, wait, you already fought a Daedric Lord, right? Okay, this shouldn't be a big deal for you. Like, so it's pretty cool. Like, I feel like the way Oblivion implemented itself and, like, catered itself to talk about, like, what you've done in the game was huge. And Skyrim, like, sacrificed a lot of that for that, like, big blockbuster storyline and the mass appeal of, oh, we need new people to be interested in this series, so let's give them something to be excited about right now.
Yeah. What do you think about Oh, there was something I wanted to bring up. Crap.
Oh, there it is.
There it is. It just slipped.
Yep. We're 90 minutes in now. That's when the brains start turning off usually.
Yeah. It's the 90-minute mark. No, but there was definitely. I think it had to do with Oblivion. What were you just saying? Because I know it was related to what you were just saying.
About how the DLCs played into each other. About how the ending was cool.
You were talking about how they knew you killed a. What do you think?
A Daedric Lord.
What do you think about Mirak? That's what it was about.
Oh, Mirak, the
yeah.
other Dragonborn.
The other Dragonborn, and that whole quest line.
It was okay.
It was pretty like meh, right? Like even especially might be one of the worst Bethesda DLCs. Like
it's the worst. I think it's one of the worst Bethesda DLCs for sure. I think the only one worse is Horse Armor.
True. Yeah.
The biggest problem with it is it's just like it's the same thing, right? A Daedric Lord convinced this guy to do this thing, and now this guy's really dangerous. The only thing that made it cool was it was like, hey, you're not the only Dragonborn. Like, I feel like they needed to do that because it was like they needed to make people understand like you're not all that special. Right? Like this isn't like a 1 in a million thing. You're not the only Dragonborn to ever exist.
Yeah.
But I also feel like you didn't need to do that. You know what I mean? Like you could have given us a better storyline with a better villain.
Yeah, we could have like had a completely different villain who isn't. Also, I don't like Hameas Mora. And
why is he always the bad guy? Pick a different one. There's like 30 of them. Pick a new one.
Pick anybody. But it just sucked like that. Like it felt like they were tone deaf, giving us a shout as like a reward at the end. Because like I think it's safe to say one of the least exciting things about Skyrim is the shouts, unless you're talking about Whirlwind Sprint. Like you know what I mean?
Or Fusurda. Like, the iconic ones.
Like
I mean, I think it was pretty tone deaf. Yeah.
Aspect as a shout, like it would have been way cooler to like. And Mirok wears like robes and a dragon priest mask. It's like there's no good rewards at the end of that quest line that make me even want to do it. There's nothing along the way that gives me like great shit along the way. It's like you don't need that at all. Like the best, like sad to say, one of the best fucking DLCs that Skyrim had was like them building houses. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah, the one where you get to build your own house.
Yeah,
dude, that was fucking awesome.
Yeah, I love when games implement shit like that. Like,
well, I do to an extent.
I mean, what you? Yeah, because you don't like Fallout 4 settlement building, but that's settlements.
We could talk about that at a different time.
That's a whole settlement. Yeah, I just mean when you get a home and you can like make the home like the parts of the home. Like I did it in Breath of the Wild recently. Like
being able to customize the space that you call your own within the game is huge.
And I mean, even before settlement building, everybody like all the Fallout games had a place where you could go live. Like you could buy a house in Megaton, you could buy a house on the Strip or whatever it was. And like you can have this place to go and store your shit and like sleep. And if you're RPing, it's way better. You know what I mean?
Right.
Eventually, your guy just has to go home. Like
well, exactly that. It gave you a space to call your own.
Talking about RPing, in Enderall, they added Arcane Fever. So, like, once you become a magic user, not everybody in that world can use magic. If you can, you have this quality to yourself called Arcane Fever. So the more you use magic, the sicker you get. And there are a few things you can do to alleviate that sickness. But one of them is you can smoke peaceweed. So there's an ingredient called peaceweed, and there's a miscellaneous item that's in both games called the smoking pipe, but they add this mechanic where if you click it, you get to, you know, sit there and smoke your peaceweed. You lose 1 of your peaceweed from your inventory. You lose 1% of Arcane Fever, which is not that much, but it's not meant to be that much. But I always RP'd that was how my character decompressed. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, and that was cool. Like that game, the little mechanics that they added in gave it so much more depth that made it feel so much more like a passion project, right?
Yeah,
like when when I look at Oblivion too, like you can feel the passion in that game, and especially like it's voice acted by like 11 people, and they all worked on the game as well. So it's like, right, like
that's why it's so good almost. It's like
yeah, because you
the
can
same
feel
thing
it.
goes for Enderal. There's new voice actors, new radiant dialogue, and the people are they hired people, but it definitely felt like those people were like really invested.
Well, and I think it really, the biggest feeling that I get, especially the difference between like Skyrim and Oblivion, is that you can tell the difference in where Bethesda was, right? Because like Oblivion came out and that was them like, okay, we finally got this series together. Like we finally know what we want the Elder Scrolls to be.
Yeah.
And then when Skyrim came out, that was like, hey, listen, we just released another banger with, you know, we had Fallout 3 in between there. That was a banger. We saw how New Vegas did, and New Vegas kind of made the Fallout series a little bit more mass appealing and playable to a regular person.
Yeah.
Let's try that with Elder Scrolls. And we got Skyrim, but it didn't feel as like lovingly crafted, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. It felt like a commercial product. You know
I was
what mean?
just gonna say like Skyrim feels more like a commercial for the Elder Scrolls than like an installment within the series.
Yeah, I mean, and some of the best, like, they had some of the best commercials. Like, they advertised the fuck out of that game.
Well, and it paid off. I mean, people are still buying that game today.
Yeah, and they haven't put out an ad since.
And they didn't need to, and they have. I mean, think about it. People talk about it on the internet.
Yeah.
If you go right now on any social media site and say that you took an arrow to the knee, people will say, "Hey, oh, I love Skyrim." Yeah.
Even Enderal had a journal that you could find next to a dead guy with arrows in his knee. The journal says, "I used to be an adventurer until I took an arrow to the knee."
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, Skyrim. While I don't think anyone will ever deny its impact on gaming, because I mean, we've seen how many open world games that make you create a character and choose your play style, it all come after Skyrim because of the crazy commercial success. So we can all classify it as a good game. It's one of the best games of all time. But when you look deeper into like the Elder Scrolls series, it's kind of funny to see how different it is than everything else that's within that umbrella.
Yeah. Yeah, and I know I've been singing Enderal's praises, but to be fair, they didn't have to build an engine. They just had to make a game.
Exactly.
Bethesda had to do both. You know what I mean? So
right.
They had that advantage. If anything, I would say the development teams were equal, which is just a testament to how insane the modding community is. The people who, you know, really are passionate about this game really do make some incredible mods. Even Forgotten City, which became its own game eventually. It's just insane. I mean, yeah, the modding community is making people's development careers. Like,
right. There are people who literally made mods for Skyrim and have probably gone on to get jobs at Bethesda.
Yeah.
Right? Like, they're probably working on... I know for a fact there are people who created mods for Skyrim that are working on Elder Scrolls 6. So
insane,
it just goes to show like how huge of an impact it had on gaming, because it made modding become almost like accepted, whereas like before it was kind of frowned upon, right? Like people didn't really like the idea of modding games because it meant that they were changing the product that you provided. But now, like almost every game you can find mods for, right? Like any single player game you can mod, you can change.
At least three.
Yeah.
Mods.
At least three.
Yeah.
At least. But yeah, I think that Skyrim had a huge impact, but as far as it goes, when you talk about the Elder Scrolls, a lot of people don't realize that like the games before it were really, really good in their own right too.
Look, he's choosing his class right now.
Yeah, see, look, there it is.
As we speak.
Like, see, this is so different.
I would recommend you do a custom class.
Yeah, always custom class.
A witch hunter. I'm so dead.
Nah, you always gotta go custom. Yep. See, like, dude, man, Skyrim fucked up. They could have had this. They could have had this.
They could have had this in no perk tree. It would have been crazy.
Dude, it would have been. Imagine how many different builds you could have gotten out of your time in Skyrim if it had skill points and the perk tree.
Just 4. Or well, there's like 12 sort of, but there's 4.
Yeah, there's 4.
Yeah, and there's really only 1.
I mean, imagine if they kept it in Fallout.
Yeah, true, because you don't like Fallout 4's leveling. Yeah. I mean,
I'm just saying.
It is a shame that you can, in both games, level up all of your attributes fully, in a sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just they took out the aspect of like what your character is unique and different, and we're just like, yeah, do whatever the fuck you want, man.
Yeah, a lot of games though, like helped make them want to do it. I feel like
Well, that's a trend in gaming in general, though, right?
yeah.
Like, let's make our games appeal to more people. So let's take out some of the things that make them niche and unique, and just slam in things that everybody loves.
It'd be really cool if like hardness, like difficulty, like putting it on hard, affected shit like that. You know what I mean? Like made potions more expensive, made food not heal in combat, shit like that.
Right. Whereas, as opposed to just made health bars bigger.
Yeah, like what is the point of playing Skyrim in mega hard mode if the final boss is gonna have like 1800 HP? Like
yeah, and I mean, I think that's probably where you feel the biggest like downside of the game is that the difficulty doesn't actually make the game harder, it just makes health pools bigger. And again, that's a trend within gaming in itself.
You like my class
big
name?
trend.
Anti-Dova.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, people just think it's like, you know, oh, difficulty is how long how much damage I have to do to enemies, or how strong are the enemies. And like, to be honest, like if you think about even Skyrim, right? Like, I don't care if the enemy has 1,000,000 health points. With how much I've played in that game, like it doesn't matter. It's just it's gonna take me longer to kill it.
Yeah, I'm killing him. It's just gonna take a while. Like,
yeah.
We don't want spongy characters, basically.
Right. And I was actually just talking to my girlfriend about this today, but that's in my opinion the biggest downfall of what happened to Borderlands is they didn't want to change.
Oh my god.
And every enemy in Borderlands is a bullet sponge, and it's been that way since the first game.
Yeah.
And people are just fucking tired of it, right? They've had the same sense of humor.
I can't play a single Borderlands game anymore. It's crazy. I love Borderlands 2, but
when the first one came out, it was like fucking groundbreaking.
I just got 3.
Yeah, I don't like the rip. It sort of felt rip-offy, where they were like, "There's over 1,000,000 guns," but they're really just like, 700.
Slight
guns
variations.
with 1,200 possible attachments or some shit like that. It's like
attachments or special skills or stat bonuses or
colors, like different sight on this gun.
I mean, my biggest problem. Well, we're getting into a whole different video now. We're getting into a whole different episode. But I mean, it's in effect. Oh, somebody said in my chat, I know you prefer Oblivion and the older games in general, but are they still playable today? So that, or would it be difficult to play those for the first time today on like Skyrim?
Not Oblivion.
So not Oblivion. Oblivion is on screen right now, and you can see it doesn't look all that bad. The thing about Oblivion play, like, itself can be a little bit repetitive, like the combat and stuff.
Or it's janky, or whatever.
Yeah, or janky, like, you won't really care, because that's not what you're there for.
And
Morrowind...
one of the things that keeps it as playable as Skyrim is the fact that there's, like, quest markers, a journal, and there's fast levels. So, like...
It feels familiar.
Yeah, if you go further back, it's a lot harder to get...
Morrowind, I would say, for the average person, like... Morrowind is not playable today.
Yeah, I think all of the Skyrim or all of the Elder Scrolls games are playable if you. There's this certain part of like everybody that sort of skips dialogue and like rushes through stories. If you can defeat that part of yourself and take games really slow and read every word on screen, you can play Morrowind still, and you can definitely enjoy even Oblivion and Skyrim more. That's something I also wanted to bring up. Have you guys ever played a playthrough of Skyrim where you read most of the books?
No.
Have you found them? I've done that before.
I only read the books if they have something to do with like either the quest or like the actual like lore of the world, right? Like I read like the Oblivion Disaster. Like that book, I was, I'm like, ooh, this sounds like it's about the previous game. Let me read that. But it's
I
all.
went through one where I like read an ebook that I hadn't already read, basically.
Have you done it where you exhaust every line of dialogue?
Yeah, but I've done that in certain playthroughs, but I stopped liking it. Like
So
I don't.
I'm
I
a
don't like-
psychopath, right?
Yeah.
The first time I play through any Bethesda game, I exhaust every line of dialogue with every character I talk to.
Oh man.
So the reason I do that is because in Fallout 3, and I didn't do it the first time I played through Oblivion, so I went back and did it in Oblivion.
Right.
But the reason I do it is because in Fallout 3, there's this one character, and I don't even remember his fucking name. I know he's a random encounter that you can have, and if you exhaust every line of his dialogue, he takes you to this little secret place that's an unmarked building, and there's a gun in there. And it's like this wicked cool fucking gun that does like, it doesn't do anything special, it just looks cool, right? And the only way you can get it is by having this random encounter and exhausting every line of dialogue with this character. So that was something that like I didn't really do, but when I did it, like, and he gave me this reward that was unmarked and untold about, I was like, yo, what the fuck? And went to like look it up on the internet, and there was nothing. Like nobody on the internet had posted about it, and I was like, oh my god, like this is so cool. So from that point forward, like I literally every time I talk to somebody in one of those games, I'm like, every line of dialogue, I have to hear it, I have to hear it. And if it's something like totally unimportant, like yeah, I'll skip through it. But that's only because I can read faster than they can talk.
Right. Yeah. I'm a somewhat slow reader, but I like now going through and like picking, like I'll either play as a very rude character, a very nice character, a very evil character, and then I'll just pick based on that, and I won't really say much. And then I'll essentially play all my characters in the sense that they only need to know what they need to know. Like if somebody has a line that like leads to the story, and then they have like 3 other things, unless one of them is shut up, like or some shit like that, and I'm a rude character, I won't really pick anything else.
Yeah, but no, like the person said, oh, it was Gabby. Wow. Those games definitely are playable. I don't think they're as playable as Skyrim. Like I think Skyrim is the most inviting to somebody who hasn't played an Elder Scrolls game before. But I feel like Oblivion's still the most rewarding. Like if you have no expectations for the series, then you can play Oblivion and still enjoy it the way it's meant to be. But if you play Skyrim first and go back, you're gonna feel like you're missing a lot of the things that made Skyrim enjoyable.
Yeah, that's why I'm almost tempted to say play Oblivion first, like before you replay
I always
Skyrim.
say that.
Like if you've already played Skyrim, before you get the itch, like if you ever get the itch to play Skyrim again, just play Oblivion, then play Skyrim, because if you play Skyrim, you won't be able to play Oblivion. But Oblivion has a lot of sick things that will make you go, damn, I missed this when you replay Skyrim, because like Oblivion like has acrobatics. Even just Gil's characters are already jumping really high. But like when you get your
being able to jump over houses.
Yeah, you can like jump super fucking high by the time you're a really high level.
And that matters, because then there's some dungeons where like you literally can't get to things unless you have a high acrobatics and you can jump up there.
Yeah. Oh, this game's so good.
Yeah, dude, the storyline in this game just fucking it gets me every time. Well, we are at like 2 hours now. I am tired.
Same.
Yeah, I think that was a pretty good discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right.
You guys want to next time do a Nintendo title?
Yeah, let's do a Nintendo title next time.
Super
come
down
up
for
with
Legend of Zelda.
Yeah. Legend of Zelda? Okay, maybe. Well, I think we'll discuss the game or the game series at a later date, but we'll tease for now. It'll be a Nintendo title for sure.
Yeah, I think a Nintendo title is a good idea, because that's totally separate from Elder Scrolls.
Yeah, we're taking a jump, and then we'll move around. We'll move around these genres for sure.
I like it.
And I'm not totally opposed to Zelda either, Torres. I was just saying, like, we'll see.
That would be interesting, because I've only played Breath of the Wild.
I've recently played Breath of the Wild. I've played Phantom Hourglass, and I'm about to play Wind Waker. So it might be okay, but I haven't played a lot of them. So
good luck.
Thank you. I also recently downloaded like pretty much every important Zelda game.
Oh,
Yeah.
very nice. Well, yeah, definitely Nintendo title next time. I like that idea.
Hell yeah.
All right, well, stream, this is goodbye for you. So all of my friends over at Twitch TV, thank you for tuning in, and hopefully we'll see you next time.
Yay.
All right, I'm not live anymore. Fuck those people.
Fuck those stupid idiots.
Fuck those stupid idiots giving me their fucking money.
Fucking assholes. I'm about to keep playing that. I'm just gonna stream it on my stream, like full screen, instead of whatever fucking way I was doing it now.
Alright, mate. Alright. I'll be back in like 3 minutes. I gotta go to the bathroom.
Yeah, me too. I gotta pee.
Alright. I'm also gonna turn off my actually, will I? Will I turn off my camera?
I'm turning mine off.
Or am I gonna do this? I'm gonna go to sources. I'm gonna go to window capture, right? Add source. What window? Well, fucking obviously, none of these windows, because Discord apparently isn't a regular window. So. DD. Yeah, maybe I will turn my camera off, so I can turn my camera on stream. There we go.
Oh, I can't wait to turn this light off. I need a new light that doesn't hurt my eyes.
That doesn't hurt my eyes.
Like, I'll just randomly get a headache mid-stream. But yeah, how you liking Oblivion so far?
I just got to the Imperial City.
You did do, I didn't bring it up, but you kind of, sort of made a mistake.
What?
Having speechcraft on your skills really hinders you in the long run.
That's fine.
In a sense. Alright, cool. As long as you're okay with that. It's just that you cannot avoid speaking to people, and part of like the leveling system is sometimes you have to avoid like sort of leveling up when you don't want to. You know what I mean?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's kind of complicated. Like if you ever get really in depth in the leveling system, you'll know what I mean. But the simplest way I could put it is like, if you level up your speechcraft like 5 or 6 times in a level, you'll get like a 5 times multiplier, but then that will stop until you go to bed. And then if you keep leveling speechcraft, you're like losing out on the max amount of like attributes you could have added to it, in a sense. Like, because you're still gonna level it, and then you're eventually gonna reach max level early, without having actually, like, you get a max point, like 5 times multiplier on your speechcraft. And then from there, you want to stop using speechcraft, and then you want to level up, like, whatever your other major or minor skills were until you have a 0.5 time or a 5 times multiplier on it. Then you go go to bed without leveling anything up further, because you're not getting a 6 times, you're not getting a 7 times, you're just wasting one of those level ups, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or the attribute gain or whatever it is. And then, yeah, you go to bed, you pick the things, and then, like, if you pick the ones that are in relation to your, like, major or minor skills, they'll have, like, a huge bonus applied. And, like, so the way to end up with the, like, highest level or whatever is actually, like, really challenging to do. And it's easier if you pick something like if you're a one-handed build, it's easier if you pick two-handed weapons. You know what I mean? And then when you choose to level, you'll still, like, get stronger and get better with one-handed weapons over time. But when you choose to level up, you just pull out your two-handed weapon and go, like, farm mobs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's kind of unintuitive. That's some of the problems I have with that system. Like, that's why I like Enderal a lot more, because it still feels very RPG, very, like, build your own class. There's still consequences to leveling. You can still miss out on shit. You can't be every class in the game if you want to be the most optimized, but it doesn't, like, you could get stuck in a hole. Like I brought up earlier, like, it's possible to be a level 8 with level 4 stats, and then you won't be able to kill a level 8, like, Daedra. Like, that's not happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even though you're a level 8, but you have the exact same stats as a level 4. You know what I mean? But that's only if you did the worst leveling ever, like, you could ever do. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But it gets easier to do it when you're, like, a level 21 and everybody's a level 29. That's not that hard to fuck up. But it's still hard to fight against.
OMG.
OMG.
Now, does Gem present a spooky stream?
He does.
Absolutely does.
Gem presents spooky stream. Oh, it's the 29th. Holy shit. Tomorrow is Hallows Eve. That is crazy, man.
Tomorrow's Hallows Eve.
Hallows Eve.
Facts. What's happening to my Oblivion?
Wait, no, isn't tomorrow's Hallows Eve, not Hallows Eve. Like, right now is Hallows Eve. Right?
No, because Halloween is the 31st.
Yeah, so
which is All
tomorrow
Hallows
is the
Eve.
third. No, tomorrow is the 30th, which is the eve of Halloween, Hallows Eve. Like Christmas Eve, Christmas Eve, Hallows Eve.
I'm pretty sure that Halloween is just Hallows Eve, and then All Hallows Day is November 1st.
What?
Yeah. What?
November 1st isn't Hallows Day, though. Because All Halloween, All Hallows Eve, All Saints Eve, Halloween, and Halloween are all supposedly the 31st. But why would they use the word Eve?
Because All Saints Day is November
Or maybe
1st, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, yeah, that is.
OMG.
OMG. Becky, look at her butt. That's what I think of when you start saying that shit.
OMG. Becky, look at her booty. Her booticus.
Hi there. What is it now? Speak.
Well, what do I want to do first, Wakey?
I don't know.
carrot point for the infant.
Should I play Super Mario Sunshine or Super Mario Galaxy?
You have my ears to say.
It is that heat. The heat. Super Mario Sunshine with that heat. What?
Herbal grow orchid.
Actually
knows
inundated
you
with
need
options, though.
axes and blunt weapons.
Um,
So he makes them and sells them here. Slash and Smash, the big orc weapon shop. Big weapons for big heroes. Let's see what we've got here. Say what you're going to say.
No problem.
no problem.
A whole ass meat board, a cheese board.
That's great.
Ooh, that is
How's it
baller
go
with the
again?
pepperoni. Dude, I remember fucking every
That's good
family
of you
party
to
when I
say
was a
so.
kid, just stealing all the pepperoni. Like
Yep,
all of it is mine.
I love
baby.
pepperoni.
It's so good.
Blah, blah, blah. Is that so?
I'm thinking of different Nintendo titles: Pokemon, Zelda, Mario.
pathetic.
You all know Mario. Wii
That's great.
Sports.
And
Oh.
how's it going? That's good of you to say
Wii
so.
Sports is
You're
a
wasting
crazy
breath.
one.
Can't
There's
do better than
Dragon
that.
Quest, which I've
Can
never
I
actually
interest you in
played.
some of my wares?
There's expansions on the Mario lore, like Wario. There's the Wario games. There's the Donkey Kong games. There's the Dr. Mario games. There's the Mario Kart / Mario Party genre, the multiplayer Nintendo titles. Oh, there's Smash, of course, which has a ton of games and a ton of people from a ton of games. Yeah. Yeah, I don't really know. You know what I mean? I'm actually leaning somewhat heavily towards either Pokemon or Zelda.
I mean, I think Zelda would probably be better.
Okay.
I
Yeah, we could
appreciate
do
your
Zelda.
business.
I only say Zelda because I feel like Pokemon is like
Blasted thief.
we'd run out of shit to talk about in the
Well,
first like 30
You have
minutes,
to be
Yeah,
here.
it's crazy, yo.
This
You
is
catch
the
animals.
city.
It's a
and then you make
violation.
them fight.
Why waste time in little places?
No, true. I feel like we should one day, if we can't. I don't know how we would do this though. Actually,
Pokemon challenges.
there's this game called
Pokemon
Koromon.
Dungeon. Pokemon Go.
Pokemon Go.
Argonian.
I guess like Pokemon Showdown and like people doing Nuzlocks and stuff would be good.
There's this game called Koromon I was really interested in. That's like, it's not Pokemon, but it's like a monster
I
catching
understand the Fighters
Game.
Guild is hiring new
based on Pokemon.
And what do people expect right now?
Enough talk.
Is it going to be Final Fantasy?
Maybe Pokemon would be a good one.
Well met.
Potentially, yeah. It definitely sounds better than Wii Sports and Mario in my mind to like do as a thing.
I mean, yeah, Mario would just be jerking off the dick of Nintendo. And Mario.
Mario
Some-
Brothers.
Somehow they stay alive in every generation of gaming with
Although-
Mario.
Although Mario might be relevant because of Chris
I
Pratt's
give a weird opinion.
shit.
Chris
I give a
Pratt.
weird opinion.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I was just going to say
Oh.
something about the...
He's Mario.
Help us
At
out.
first I was like,
Having a bit of trouble
I-
with another
I feel
merchant.
like it should have more, but like,
He's that
like,
Imperial Watch captain that's always
let's
chasing
talk
after the
about
Grey
that
Fox.
kind of vibe.
Chasing after shadows, if you ask me.
Because
The
Game
Thieves
Corner
Guild
feels
probably
more like
doesn't
a...
exist.
Not like
It's a beautiful
game
city,
show, but
but
more
stay away
like
from the
a-
waterfront. It's not
Yeah.
dangerous.
I mean, everybody got a game corner,
He is dirty. Plain and simple. I don't trust
right?
him at all.
Gil, you're in a corner right now, aren't you?
I am in a corner.
I got a flat wall. Wait,
I'm
what
in the
is Game
corner.
Corner? Is that the name of the thing that we just
Yeah.
Quality
Yeah.
things for sale.
Game
What can
Corner.
I
Yeah,
interest you in?
yeah.
But I was just an
Helm
opinion
of
of
the
the year,
Deep
but
Delver.
What?
This helmet costs mad money, brother.
Originally, before it was going to be about just games, I was going to call it Dio's Deep Dives.
that would be kind of cool. Like,
Dio's Deep Dives is pretty cool. A lot of people like alliteration. It's kind of stupid. One time somebody suggested that I do a show called Mikey Mondays, and I hated the name, and then I
Come
did
back
it,
and
and
see.
everybody was like, "Oh, dude, the name is sick." I'm like, "What the fuck? You guys are so stupid."
It's literally just my name and a day of the week, you fucking
Yeah, it's
idiots.
so dumb.
You just like it because M and M.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it is true. Like it's got a lot of mass appeal. It's the Skyrim of names.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Why didn't you do that on stream? Did I just find the arena? Is that what this is?
Already? Dude went right to it. He opened the fast travel menu the moment he
Hello
left.
there. Welcome to the
Warewolf.
arena. I don't
What do you
know
do?
if you're looking to join.
Did you walk
if
to the
you're-
city in the
that's-
middle of the lake? What do you mean the arena? You're actually at the arena?
Oh,
Yeah.
all right.
You should go compete as a level 2.
If by just
Alright,
Okay.
GG.
have a good day now.
I'm in.
oh, I think Bastion is my man.
Hmm?
I think that's the guy.
Why?
I halfway through, and so there was only like a couple minutes left. I got 7 kills, and
Ooh.
I think Sigma's my tank.
Hmm.
Move here.
I'm already Winston.
I don't know who you are.
Yo, this cheese board's
Wait,
hitting
all
so
right.
good.
Now
Nice.
put that on. You fight
I have my
That-
version of a cheese
you-
board.
if you
Mountain Dew and a cigarette.
ready. You call that ready?
I'm rolling the cigarette right now, so it's like it's one of those rustic cheese boards. You know what I mean?
You haven't run home. All right.
Alright,
It's a rustic cigarette.
I'm a
Yeah.
maggot and I'm going in.
Oh, let's go, maggot.
Oh, he really is at the arena. Holy shit.
Brother. Come on,
Good people of the Imperial City, welcome to the arena. For this match, we've got some fresh meat, 2 brand new pit dogs. So let's not waste any time. Let the battle begin.
So I brought this up to Gil. He answered me, but I'm interested in your opinion. What can I play next? Super Mario Sunshine or Super Mario Galaxy?
Have you played either of them already?
Probably both briefly, but neither other than at someone's house.
Do you want a game that's more fun or more of a challenge?
Probably more fun.
Galaxy.
Really, it's more fun than Sunshine.
Bro, Sunshine is hard. Yeah, it's not an easy game.
Is it hard in the sense that all the mechanics are hard? So like the first level's hard at first, the second level's hard at first, it gets harder and harder. Or is
It's
it-
not even that. I mean, it's just some of the platforming parts are very challenging.
Okay. I like platforming a lot, but I would be more upset if it was just like the mechanics don't work that well and it's hard. Or
Well, I
like,
mean, it's
the
a
game is
Mario game, so
janky.
yeah.
I
don't
always
know.
thought like some of the
You're damn
mechanics in
right.
Mario felt really smooth
You
and
again.
nice, like
Now,
but
I'll-
I wouldn't be upset if the challenge was like a collectathon, where it was like there's a ton of levels or a ton of content. You know what I mean? That I wouldn't mind, because I can skip some if I want to, if it's optional. Like I don't obsess.
I mean,
that hard.
objectively, Sunshine is a better game.
Sunshine is a better game.
Objectively.
Really interesting. What about Galaxy 2? Have you played that?
Uh-huh.
Is that better than Galaxy or worse than Galaxy?
I like the same.
You
The
haven't
same.
run home. All
Okay, then I think Sunshine it is. Because I would rather play the better game. The objectively better game.
I mean, Sunshine's a fucking classic.
Yeah. I feel like it's gonna feel better to come off of Luigi's Mansion and go to Sunshine than it would to go to a Wii
Yeah.
game right now.
Well,
Although,
plus it-
so I already played the emulator a little bit with Super Paper Mario. It uses DualShock 4 as the Wiimote. Like, it uses the gyroscope as the Wiimote, and it works, like, perfectly. Crazy.
For this match,
Huh.
we've got some
Yeah.
fresh meat. 2 brand new pit dogs. So let's not waste.
I don't know what I like more, Semu or CMU for Wii U, the Wii U emulator. Has, like, mods built into every, like, ROM you download. But then, like, Dolphin has just way more games, and yeah, like some of them are just better games, and then it kind of runs smoother a little bit too, because they're older games. Damn, actually, the real question is Wind Waker or Sunshine.
I would say Sunshine.
Ooh, that's tough. All right, Gene, you have to be the deal breaker on this, because they just split down the middle. And if you have no opinion, I'll just flip a coin. But yeah, you just Legend of Zelda Wind Waker or Super Mario Sunshine. What should
I
I
never
play?
played Super Mario Sunshine. Wait, was that like that or the RPG one?
No, Super
No.
Mario Sunshine. That's Super Paper Mario, or Paper Mario, I mean. But Super Mario Sunshine is the like one where it's in between Super Mario 64 and Super Mario Galaxy.
The one where you have the water backpack.
Yeah, you have like a water backpack, jetpack.
I don't know. Yeah, I didn't play that.
City, collect suns instead of stars. Is that true? Did I make that up? Suns instead of stars?
Suns instead of stars. It's a GameCube game, Gene.
Wait, did you guys play the RPG one though? The Super Mario RPG one? That one was so fun.
Was that
Paper Mario?
There's two. There's like there's an old one called Super Mario, or maybe Mario RPG.
It is
And
old,
then-
yeah. It's really old. It was really old.
Oh, and it's like on a square. Like it's like 2.5 dimensional. Is that what you're talking? Kind of isometric.
I don't remember all that, but I just remember it was like an RPG, like Final Fantasy type. It was lit.
Yeah, that's Mario RPG.
by the
Okay.
nine. Here, kid.
It could have been that, but it could have been Paper Mario. But Paper Mario's side scroller completely flat because the guy's paper. It's like 2D completely.
I don't remember it being 2D. That's why. But
Oh, okay. Was there a hammer?
I think so.
Oh, that might be Paper Mario. Like Paper Mario, a big part of the game was the hammer.
I'm surprised y'all niggas remember that shit. That was a while ago.
Yeah, I loved Paper Mario Thousand Year Door though. Like for GameCube, it was so good.
And I'm a nerd.
It's impressive though to remember like the names from that far back.
Hmm
It's a while ago. Like that shit was like 15 years ago.
I just got a bunch of emulator games. That's why I was asking. So I'll flip the coin then on the decision. So
Bro. Fucking
It's
hate
gonna
drinking,
be-
dude.
So L, the letter L is closer to H. So heads will be Legend of Zelda. Oh, Super Mario Sunshine it is.
Fuck yeah.
What the fuck? I go on Tinder. I have fucking 5 new matches. Yeah, I think they're starting to fucking what the fuck? That's some bullshit.
I think that the app.
match with them, they're gonna be like, "Hey, follow me to my sexy site."
That happens. No, but I think so much people are starting to not use dating apps anymore. So they're probably like, I don't know. Yeah, probably they're probably making bots to make it seem like you have more.
Imperial City.
Also,
Because
I
there's really
think
no
you
reason.
don't-
There's really, if you're average dude, there's no reason at all to be using Tinder, in my opinion.
The pit
Mhm.
dog from the yellow team, or the pit dog from
Yeah,
the
I think
blue
the
team. Let's
like
find
algorithm
out.
though tries to like boost your engagement if you don't use the app a lot. There's a lot
Yeah,
of
that makes
weird-
sense.
There's a lot of weird algorithm things. Like if you message all of your matches, you'll get a boost in the algorithm because it's like, oh, you're an engaging person, so we'll match you with more people. Shit like that. Like you wouldn't. But also, if you spend a lot of time on the app, it drops your engagement because it's like we already got this guy wrapped in. We don't need to. But so like the fact that you haven't been on it in a while, they're like, let's try to get him back in. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Makes complete sense. You really gotta do shit like that when you own a fucking app.
Yeah, it's so weird.
Dude, this guy's like so OP.
What are you playing?
I'm playing I was about to say Oblivion.
Bro, I tried.
You'll make a
The graphics are too old for me. I bought it because Oblivion really was the shit, but the graphics are just too old for me. But I'll probably get used to it. What's that?
Said they aren't even that bad.
No, they're
Oh,
not.
the
They're not. They're not.
graphics on this game are garbage for the emulator right now. Holy shit.
Right, you guys could do that. I can't go so far. Like, I still need to watch Cowboy Bebop, but it looks too old that I cannot.
What? Grow up.
Oh,
Grow up.
Bro,
no, for me, it's just the with ROMs and emulators. Like the last game I played on this emulator looked great. It like was a 1080p port of a GameCube game, but I have to change the graphics for this one. That's like emulators are weird like that.
Cowboy.
It's also
Bebop.
saying I'm only using 3% of my GPU right now, so maybe that's it.
I mean, I did hear a lot about Cowboy. Not one person ever said that show is bad. Everyone just said that show is amazing, so I believe it.
It really is.
It really is. You should
Even
watch
if
it.
you only watch one episode, like it's one of those shows you can just like tune into and then tune out of.
Oh, okay.
But you should watch all of it, Gene.
Yeah,
and
you
stop
should,
being
yeah.
a girl.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I cannot pick up an anime and not finish it. I just never done that before. I have to finish it.
If you do end up liking it, sorry, you should.
I don't know. The fact
you
that
should
everybody
watch
says how
Samurai-
amazing it was, I don't think I'll hate it. I just don't think so.
True.
Like,
You should
anime is
watch
something that-
Samurai Champloo.
Samurai what?
Champloo.
Heard. Sounds familiar.
CHAMPLO.
It's
super
on
good.
par with Cowboy Bebop. It's
Yeah,
like
for sure.
I would put them side by side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, the
so
thing was
fucking
like,
good.
you know, like a lot of things, like you don't really care for like what's popular, what people say, but anime, most popular animes are really fucking good. You know,
True.
like when it comes to anime, I don't like, I don't hate on like popularity.
There are some anime that's popular that I
the
don't
only,
like.
That's the only one that's bad. That's popular.
Which one?
Bleach.
Yeah, Bleach. I agree. Fuck Bleach. Yo, that's actually the one I didn't finish. Nah, Bleach was whack as shit, bro. Bleach was whack. It was good for a little bit, and then when I see that people just didn't die and kept coming back and bullshit, and like the action was really not that good, like.
My biggest problem with Bleach is it's like, all right, here's the new group of people, the new bad guys. Oh, by the way, the main character, he is also that.
Yeah,
No matter what it is, every time.
Yeah, I remember I skipped to like episode like 500 something. I was like on episode like 50, 60. Everyone's still alive. The same people were still alive. I was like, oh, word? Oh, word?
Bro,
Let's go.
I haven't watched it all, but I heard at the end it's like, oh, so he's a guy who tries to kill demons. Oh wait, he's a Grim Reaper. Oh wait, he's now a demon. Oh wait, they got.
Oh, he's
these
also a
things, he's
Quincy.
That yeah, like they just kept adding to him.
That's jokes.
No, he
That's
literally,
true.
every time they introduce a power in the show, the main
He
character
gets it.
also gets
Yeah,
that power.
It's crazy.
Damn, I didn't know that. I didn't fuck with Bleach at all.
I don't fuck with My Hero either.
Oh, whoa.
I kind of like My Hero. My thing with the new, I call them current season animes. I don't want to watch them till they're done.
Yeah, I
'cause-
agree with that one. I agree. I don't
Yeah.
like watching. I agree with that one 100%.
I think My Hero relies too heavily on the you have to like the protagonist.
You kind of do it. Yeah.
Well,
the
because
protagonist
I mean,
in that show fucking sucks. He sucks
first
so
couple
bad.
of episodes, it's like, yeah, he's a crybaby, he's annoying, like,
True.
you
He's
know,
not the
a
best
goody
protagonist.
two-shoes.
No, he never stops being a whiny bitch, Mikey.
Mhm.
He never stops.
But the thing is, like, the other characters in that show is actually really cool, though. But the protagonist, I could agree, not the best. Be right back.
Yeah,
One second.
Yeah.
I also just don't like the whole theme of My Hero.
I like the world building a
Be
little
right back
bit.
1 second.
But like a lot of the recommendation I've gotten for new animes, like Demon Slayer, My Hero, and there's another one, and they're all pretty good. I think, like they're contenders. They're not
I don't really like Demon Slayer either, actually.
really.
Yeah.
It's interesting. There's that other one. You know the one with the Infinity guy? Fuck.
Jujutsu Kaisen. Now
that one's
that's my
really good.
shit.
Yeah. That's probably my favorite of the new animes.
I collect the manga.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I really like Jujutsu Kaisen. I like Mob Psycho too.
I haven't watched any of that. I definitely will when
Oh,
is that done?
Mikey, do you like One Punch Man?
A little bit, not really.
So Mob Psycho is the story that he actually the author of One Punch Man actually wanted to tell.
Uh-huh.
So it's way goofier. It's like
Right.
meant to be funny. And it's like the animation is insane. There's in the first season of Mob Psycho, there's literally 5 scenes in the whole season,
Mhm.
and those 5 scenes alone cost them like $1 million in animation. Because
Jesus Christ.
they animated painted glass.
Oh shit.
It's insane. And it's just like it doesn't take itself too seriously. So like you can watch the show and enjoy it, and like there's no point where it needlessly builds suspense.
I'm back.
Yeah, I hate that. Like I hate when shows sort of like
Have the Naruto effect or the DBZ
Yeah.
effect.
yeah, the DBZ effect is how
I need to watch
think of it.
Naruto, dude.
Wait,
this
wait,
game-
wait, 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 wait.
This game is also doing the thing where when I look down, I don't know, is that technically looking down and up? Yeah, no, it's right. Never mind.
Like, I've
I'm
seen a
just-
lot of clips from Naruto, and that shit looks fire. I'm not
You've-
even gonna lie.
I will tell you right now, Gene, me and my girlfriend are watching it. It's good, but if you like modern anime, it's really hard to watch Naruto because it suffers from like that early anime weekly release thing where like half of the
Am I really?
23-minute episode is just fucking
Fillers?
It
flashbacks.
looks like I'm peeking
No, it's just
on my thing.
flashback.
What do you want?
So it's literally
What are you
like,
asking you like flashback?
it'll literally be like 2 guys ready to fight, and it'll be like, I remember why I'm here fighting, and then it'll flash back to something you saw like 5 episodes ago,
I hear
and
that.
it'll show you the entire 4-minute scene, and then it'll be back at the fight scene.
What the fuck?
So it just reuses a lot of footage because that's like how animation did it back
okay.
then.
That should be a little bit better.
Are you watching like all the Naruto? Because I know there was like another Naruto, right? Something.
Naruto and Shippuden.
Boom. Thank you for telling me that. A lot of people don't tell me about if my audio's all fucky.
Your audio sounds fine to me.
I'm talking about on stream though. Yes. And now I think I'm gonna switch over to some Overwatch.
I wish I could play Overwatch. Dude, I had a fucking pain headache earlier.
Have you tried not having a headache?
I wish. I would just don't drink.
Oh yeah, don't do that. It's bad for you.
Nah, fuck drinking, dude. Fuck that. And also, drinking alone is extremely depressive, so fuck that also.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of Overwatch, so bye. Thank you for coming by, Des. And hopefully I catch you again. I'll probably stream some more Oblivion
Imagine
at
it was
some point.
Desi.
Imagine.
That'd be crazy.
Alright, mate. Here's what we're
Alright.
gonna do here. The
Alright,
display
mate.
capture. We're gonna fucking bloop.
Yo, I want your opinion on something, Gene. Would you rather listen to a whole bunch of information about Pokemon or a whole bunch of information about The Legend of Zelda?
Oh, that's a good one.
Legend of
Fuck,
Zelda.
I know Zelda has a crazy story.
Legend of Zelda.
But I would probably go Pokemon just because the fact that there's so much different Pokemon.
Yeah, true. Okay, dope. Thank you for the input. I'm gonna be asking a ton of people that question because next week we're doing a Nintendo episode.
Oh, bad. I mean, see which one's more popular. I think Pokemon's more popular, so it might just. But Legend of Zelda,
I wonder when the
I
newest
know that
release
story
is.
actually goes hard.
The newest
Yeah.
Pokemon? It's coming out.
Okay,
Scarlet?
so it might
Pokemon
be
Scarlet?
pretty relevant.
Oh my god, it looks
Might be
so
pretty relevant.
gas.
What is it? What
Yeah.
is it coming out for? What is it coming out for?
The Switch.
What do you mean? It's it's a Nintendo game.
Oh, I know some of them are on PC too.
None of them are on PC.
I've played Pokemon games on PC.
Using
Through an emulator?
It was probably through an emulator, but
Yeah, through your illegal emulation.
emulator.
I'm gonna say Pokemon has never ever been released on anything that isn't a Nintendo console.
I don't know. I just remember way back, I like used to play it on a site. Like you said, it was kind of like a remake. So.
Are you talking about Pokemon Showdown?
Are you talking about
I
Pocket
don't-
Mortys?
I do not remember names. I'm not going with names.
Gene, sometimes I think you just make it up and then you pretend like you have a bad memory.
Why would I make that up?
I don't know, for fun.
I don't do that. I was saying, I played Pokemon on the internet a while ago. It was like just a like mini one. It was like the old ones where you just have a tournament, you walk around, catch Pokemon.
Oh, you're talking about Poke MMO?
I don't know the name. I don't remember the name, bro.
If it was an MMO, he'd know about it. Well, this is Gene we're talking about.
Yeah, but I don't think it was an MMO. But that'd be kind of crazy though.
Yo,
That's a-
Poke
that's a-
MMO
that's
is
a thing.
ridiculous. It is a thing. It is ridiculous. And it's way harder than the regular Pokemon games.
It's actually an MMO.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
like you can see people walking around. People meet up at certain towns and shit. It's crazy.
Oh shit, I'll look into that.
It's a
Pokemon
grind.
was my
It's a grind fest.
Yeah,
Oh, fuck
all
that.
MMOs are a grind fest.
I was gonna say Gene loves a grind fest.
Used to. I can't do that shit no more. I really can't. That's why I can't play Destiny. I cannot grind like that anymore, bro. It's so I cannot do it no more.
It was mad funny. I was talking to my brother about streaming, and he was like, I think I'm gonna get Modern Warfare 2 when it comes out tonight. And that was like last night. And I was like, really? You're gonna get Modern Warfare 2? You didn't even play the beta, and I told you to download it. And he was like, yeah, well, can't really earn
don't
shit
play
in the
betas.
beta. And then he was like,
I don't play betas either.
bro, the beta was mad fun.
I know, but I'm just saying I personally don't play betas. It's too much of a tease for me. I just play the game when it comes out.
I like now that most of the time when you play a beta, like, there is some kind of, like, reward that you get that's, like, exclusive to beta players. I dig that.
Bro, only one beta like did it good, but it was Battleborn. They did a 2 weeks beta, and Tom Clancy's The Division, or whatever. That beta was really good too.
The Division, I remember that. That shit was crazy.
Like the betas, like long betas are way better. Like fuck you mean 3 fucking days? Fuck.
Dude, why is Monkey's melee, like, do 30 damage? What is that? This man fucking...
Mike said that way earlier. He has the highest.
Yeah,
Melee damage.
Winston has the highest melee damage in the game.
Dude, I didn't know that. He got me down to, like, 35, and then he just punched me in the face, and I went flying. I was like, what the fuck?
Yo, melee's pretty good in that game.
It's broken. Like, the Genji combo with melee is ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
Goodbye.
Like I said, I fuck with Genji so much. It's just there's Zaryas a lot. There's a lot of fucking monkeys. There's a lot of more. Makes them very hard to play.
You know, someone's using that burst with Winston. You know how he has that beam that you can shoot?
That does no damage on him.
Oh, the right click. Yeah.
Yeah, the right click hold.
Such a weird choice to give him.
Right? I was thinking the same thing too.
I think that's for instances where like you're just out of reach and someone's one shot, you just fucking you
It's mad
send
hard
one
to
of
land,
those.
though.
Yeah,
Well,
I
it's
mean,
the same thing as Symmetra's right click.
yeah, exactly. I was gonna say you hit them with one of those fucking
The thing is,
what's his
Smash
name?
Right click does damage though.
Uncle Iroh lightning bolts, to the back.
Damn, nah, Overwatch is fun as fuck. Yeah.
Now it is fun, but it does make me very angry.
No, is it a
Also
make you
true.
angry type of game? Yes.
Also, yes.
Also yes. And yes.
Yo, random question. What are you guys' favorite color eyes on a woman?
Brown.
I like hazel.
Purple.
Purple's fire. Purple's fire. No, purple really is fire. No, it's real. It's
I've
real.
never
It's
seen
super,
purple
super,
eyes.
super
I've never-
rare. Super rare, but it's
Oh,
real.
I was
don't think
saying it
that's
to be an
true.
idiot. Yeah.
I don't think that's true. That I've heard that statistic. I think that's a lie. It's like a myth.
Are you sure about that, or is that just you refusing to believe that purple eyes
No, I'm
exist?
80% sure that that's a myth.
I'd never heard about purple eyes.
Come on, guys. Come on, guys. Come out. Come out. Come out. Yo, their whole team left the game.
But yeah, I think I'm with Mikey. Like really light brown eyes. Kills me.
Yeah, I like all sorts of brown eyes, but yeah, like brown eyes. I don't know what it is. They're just, I don't know if they're the most like natural looking to me or something.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Not natural looking, but I know that what you mean. I just can't get the word either. I don't know. Authentic, maybe?
Yeah, I don't know.
I hate watching Torbjorn's play, bro.
Bro, Torbjorn's actually such a fair counter. No bullshit.
Well, yeah, because there's a robot that's just shooting everything that it sees, dude. Like,
I know, but like, you automatically hit Farah, and like, Farah can't flank or stay in the sky without shooting that shit down. Like,
Yep.
it's just actually a fair counter. It's annoying.
It is super annoying. The good thing is that if someone goes out and baits the turret won't switch to the Pharah, like it doesn't have priority.
Yeah.
So all Pharah needs is someone to go out there first, and then she can just get rid of it real quick.
True. Also true.
And also true, yes.
And also, yes, true!
As well as true, yes,
Of course.
obviously.
Dude, I forgot how beautiful women are, bro. Like, you go out for a day and you realize how bad bitches are. Goddamn.
I'm dead. Gene's been in the crib way too long.
Yeah, for real. For real.
He's
I
like,
go
it's
out one
crazy
day
when
and
you
I see
leave the
so
crib
much
and you
bad
realize that
bitches,
girls are
bro.
girls.
What's good?
I said, you were like, it's crazy when you leave the crib and you realize that girls are girls.
No, wait, I didn't say that. I said how beautiful they could be. Like, goddamn.
I'm hip.
Basically the same thing.
Yeah.
It's crazy when you leave the crib and realize that women exist in the real world.
These days are stupid. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying I see some does bitches, but like it's just crazy. Like, goddamn. I'm surprised. Like, I see all these bad Spanish bitches go to a party, see all these bad bitches. I'm like, goddamn. What the fuck?
I'll make it.
Crazy how ugly every woman on earth is.
And it's crazy too, cause like not all these bad bitches have crazy standards. It's actually usually like the normal ones. Sometimes.
I was about to say, like, a lot of normal looking chicks think they're that girl.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like I've seen a lot of bad bitches with like regular boyfriends, or you know, like a lot of bad bitches. Really like I'm not saying all, but I'm saying like some really don't have those crazy standards.
Yo, somebody watch this stream real quick? This is like only the cutscenes are like this, but they're the worst quality I've ever seen. They're like YouTube quality cutscenes. It's crazy.
On the stream.
Sweet Lord Mary and Joseph.
Graphics aren't that bad.
Yo, it's pixely as fuck. It's like crazy.
What?
I don't know if like the stream looks different.
Probably, I don't know. The graphics don't look that
Oh,
bad.
I gotta see this. I gotta see this.
It's just the cutscenes. It's not the game. The game is like fine, but like, do you see the things around the sprite? I don't know. It's like pixely. It's like 420p.
I don't know. It doesn't look. I see it as 720p fine. Probably just because you're streaming at 720p.
Gene's saying this fine, but won't play Oblivion.
Bro, Oblivion was
bruh.
looking bro. It was looking a little regs.
No, this is looking way worse graphically.
You literally
Yeah,
only
way
you
worse than regs.
you only think Oblivion looks like that because you played Skyrim.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. Yeah, it's because I play Skyrim a lot.
You hate to hear it.
I know Oblivion's a better game. I just play Skyrim a lot.
Yo, I'm dead. I just heard a Mario Sunshine noise and I thought it was fucking that 50 Cent song. All I heard was tickety boom, and I thought it was tickety boom boom boom
Why
boom
is my
boom
GPU
boom.
running at
I don't know what you heard about me.
Understand.
Your mother. Oh my god, bitch, man. Mad annoying, dude. Goodbye, Sombra. It's been real. Oh! Sojourner just wrecked my shit from the side. Come on, guys. We got this. We got this. Anyways. Yo, Mike, this might be the easiest DPS game I've ever played in my life.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, dude, we're literally like just walking over them by accident.
By accident.
Yeah, dude, I'm just throwing shots and I'm like headshotting everything. Like, I don't know what it is. It's not
I love when
intentional.
you have games like that. Those are the best games.
Goodbye. Sombra,
Okay,
suck a
I
fat
kind of
one.
hate easy ass games. Like very easy games. I hate this.
This game's only easy because like everyone's throwing. I don't know what the deal is. Like everyone on the enemy team, bro. One of their DPS is 208 damage, and I'm at the last checkpoint.
Oh, that's why. There you go. That's why that game is easy.
Dude, like, what are you doing, lady? Wow, that's play the game.
Play the game, play the game.
Play the game, play the game. I'm on my gene.
That shit was crazy.
No, Sombra. Oh my god. Oh my god. No, the Rhine fucking ran me over. That was unfortunate as fuck.
Oh man, I don't want to go to work and do nothing.
Come on, guys. Is this really happening right now? Like, where's all this damage going? Doomfist.
Bro, I seen a god Doomfist on YouTube. Oh my god. I need to get good with Doomfist. That's all I gotta say. Like, do you want to see the craziest Doomfist you'll ever see in your life, dude? His name's Zebra.
Zebra?
Yeah. Without an E, though. Like, I actually looked this dude on YouTube. He makes Doomfist look mad OP. Well, probably. What?
Come on, this fucking guy, man. Thank God, dude. That was starting to get a little annoying. We were just playing this constant back and forth the whole time. I'm on defend on King's Row. Rowa?
Lit map, by the way. That's one thing Overwatch does really good compared to other games. Their maps are very good.
do like Overwatch maps.
And different.
Minus, I
And
didn't
different.
like Paris, and I didn't like how easy Hanamura First Point was.
Like I said, I'm bad with names, but I just know their maps are good. I'm a visual dude.
Visually, they all look amazing. Yes, I will absolutely agree with you there. But, like, realistically, and for the purpose of the game, some maps were definitely a flop.
Mm. I just know, like, playing
Like
Paladins,
Paris, too.
like, bro, Paladins is so whack when it comes to, like, the maps. Like, you go for a flank and you can't flank because people already see you, but it's the time you're trying to flank and, like, there's no flanking options. Like, there's only one, like, it's whack. Whereas, like, Overwatch, they usually give you, like, 3 paths you could go through, like, it's pretty sick. What do you think about it?
I tried. Why do we have a Doomfist? This is like real life questions, dude.
Bro, can I show you this Doomfist, like, afterwards? Like, this dude, you will think Doomfist is good. Trust me.
I already know that Doomfist is hella fucking broken.
But
Doomfist
honestly,
is trash.
you're not really gonna see those types of Doomfist unless they're in, like, Grandmaster lobbies. Like,
Yeah,
those really are the only good Doomfists there.
I was gonna say, unless it's a really good player, Doomfist is a bad hero.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's why they're not buffing Doomfist, because, like, really good players, like, will just fucking pop off on him. Even worse. But they might. Who knows?
Let's go, baby.
Okay, well, I gotta get ready for work. I'll catch you guys tomorrow. I'll be on Overwatch tomorrow.
Alright, sounds good.
Yes, sir.
Bro, they placed me bronze 5 in DPS again.
I told you, you're hard. Suck.
Again. What the fuck is that?
You might have to submit like a ticket or something, Kill.
What the actual fuck is that?
Be like, excuse me, Overwatch, you keep putting me in the same rank.
It's like you keep putting me in bronze 5 after I win games. Like I win 7 games and then you're like bronze 5, and then I win 7 more games and you're like bronze 5.
You know what this guy would like? Some bronze 5.
Oh my god.
Imagine I catch like a 13 kill dub in Apex, and they're just like 0 RP. That's fucked up, man. Why am I still bronze 5? Oh. That's so bullshit that it just leaves me at bronze 5, dude. I'm fucking sick about that.
Dude, what the fuck? This is so stupid.
Okay.
What the fuck? Bro. What the fuck?
Wow.
Okay, my head's in the game. Protect the payload. Heroes never die.
What? Alright, this is ridiculous.
I'm moving the payload. 60 seconds.
Their forces outnumber our own.
Wow.
We're in this together.
This is rough. Fuck.
They won't quit. Neither will I.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Alright, mate. This is gonna be a quick GG. No, dude. No way! OMG. Oh my god. I'm gonna play some Sojourn.
Sojourn?
Yeah,
Sojourn?
Sojourn. The chick with the auto rifle that charges up a railgun.
Oh, Overwatch.
Yes. I think if this game goes bad, I'm gonna go back to Oblivion.
Really? That game is exciting. This game is more. No, it's good. No. I think I'm gonna pack a bowl right now. Oh, please. Yeah, is it a bowl? No, it's actually a film. Yes. My bowl is soaking for 3 days and makes me feel
Oh, I didn't see this Rhine on me, dude. That's so bullshit, man. That dude should have been died.
Might have to adjust my approach.
Oh my god, Mikey. Oh my fucking god. This shit blows. Dude.
Recalculating. Oh, let's see. We need that robot back.
Oh my god, dude. The auto aim.
Mercy needs to be able to jump to somebody other than myself because I'll lose my shield and then she's dead. Hello.
The fucking invulnerability fucking grenade, dude. God fucking damn it.
I can't get this triple jump for the life of me, bro.
It is very timey. Where's the whole fucking team, man? Oh, that's so annoying, dude. So annoying when you pop off. When you pop off just for it to not matter. Oh my god, this guy, man.
Too bad. Why is Mario so floaty in this game, dude?
You've got to be shitting me.
Oh my god. Game over. I forgot the lag.
Come on. Oh, our Moira was like non-existent with the heals.
Nice.
What the fuck? Dude, that did not register as me getting headshotted. I literally was walking and then my character just fucking dropped to the ground, like just fucking ragdolled. I was like, what just happened? Oh my god, dude, these guys take the robot so often, it's kind of ridiculous. Wow, I just launched myself in the air. That's bullshit. No way they push it. No way they push it. Geeter Priffin. Yeah, I think that's enough Overwatch for today. Now. All right, mate.
Alright, mate.
Yulin Athel, of the Kraganmore Athels. Made my fortune in the flint trade, and now I'm here in the city.
This guy looks like an asshole.
Oh, he's that wanted criminal. Isn't he a master thief? I hear he's dangerous too. I've heard that the beggars spy. We're all talking about the Emperor's murder. We have no emperor and no heir. That's never happened before. I suppose we should all be worried. Farewell.
Farewell. Alright, time to take this bridge and get the fork out of here. Boom, 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 boom. Gotta love those sounds.
Yahoo!
Yahoo! Wow, net in. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, who's this guy on the horse? Is this just a guard? Oh yeah, that is absolutely an Imperial Legion guard. Fort Nickel. Okay, fuck that, I guess. Oh my god, this guy came up crazy at me. I'm taking your pants. Because you just fucking forced it on my life. There we go.
All right, I'm gonna get off.
Alright, sounds good. Deuce. Oh, I could have just stood here and clapped all of them. god.
Excuse me. Can I help? I think.
I'm Brother Jauffre. What do you want? Emperor Uriel? You brought by the night. Who? As unlikely as your stories. His meaning is unclear. The prince of, but I'm not sure. The when with the it may. I am one of the few who know of his existence. Many years ago, I served as captain of Uriel's bodyguards. The one now. His name is Martin, and the coronation of each new. He is a priest in the chapel of Akatosh in Kavat. He never knew that he was Uriel Septim's son. You need to find him at once and bring him safely back. Waste no time. You must find Martin before the end.
I think I'm gonna wrap it up stream. I'm really fucking tired. I'm really, really, really fucking tired. So on that note,